to him about that, how he fishes shallow water, how he finds these out of the way. I think weren't you guys out fishing today?
Kind of.
Or like trying to film something. Hey everybody, welcome to Bass University Live here on Tuesday night. And we're back home after an amazing weekend at Bass University down in Gadsden, Alabama. We're going to be talking a lot about that. I'm glad you guys are here to join us tonight. We got a great show. We have a few pretty big announcements tonight that I think are pretty cool. None more important than the gentleman sitting next to me. I know a lot of you guys have seen Greg. We call him GDP. Greg DiPalma is Bassmaster Elite Series Pro, sophomore now on the Elite Series, and co-host here at the Bass University Live. So, welcome to the show, man.
Man, it's definitely a dream to be a part of this. Honestly, thank you. Big time.
Well, hey, we're proud of you, and we've been watching your career. Obviously, it's been great. You're right here. You're one of us.
Yep.
In this part of the country, it's tough to make it on the top level from being up north and being here, and you've done that.
Yep.
And we're celebrating. You're gonna be in the Classic this year, man.
I am very excited about that one. Big time. Got the whole family and everybody else coming.
We'll be there.
Yes, I know you will.
We'll be there cheering you on, and we're going to talk a little bit to Greg about what's going on the Elite Tour, and I want to welcome you guys to ask him questions after coming off of his freshman year, getting back to it again this year. There's a lot going on out on tour that just is behind the scenes, and we're going to talk a little bit about that stuff. And we've got the winner of the first winner of 2020, Bryan New, the Bassmaster Open down on Lake Toho, Lake Kissimmee, the Kissimmee Chain down there. So we're going to have him on, and we have the World Traveler that is back with us to talk tonight. Riz is going to talk to us tonight about his travels with the Bass University. Been across the country.
Yeah, been all over the place, pulling the trailer, seeing all the folks that I'm probably communicating with here now on the message board. It was really cool being able to meet some of those people that I didn't have a face to put to the name, but now I do, and it was great meeting each and every one of them.
That's awesome. I mean, it was really great. It was really great seeing the Bass U trailer running around out there this year. Glad to have you out there doing it. And, we've got a lot of Bass Universities guys. This weekend, we're big. We're going to be in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and we're going to be in South Carolina. Tickets are available at thebassuniversity.com or bassuniversity.com, which is the same place. Go over there. You can get tickets for those shows. We still have seats available. Get them while you can, guys. I know, Riz, you're going to be in South Carolina. I'm going to be out in Tulsa, and we've got an amazing lineup of speakers in both places, so you make sure you want to check that out.
Yeah, who do we got real quick? I'm curious. In South Carolina.
In South Carolina, we have Gerald Swindle, Brian Latimer.
Wow.
We have a handful of other guys that are all going to be there. They're all outstanding anglers, including Brian Thrift. Brian Thrift is going to be at his second Bass University seminar of the year. He's just an absolute all-star. We love having that guy. The way he articulates his classes is totally outstanding. So
and let me interrupt you for just a second. Brian Thrift is going to be there, and a lot of you guys may or may not know, but Bryan New fished with Brian Thrift as a co-angler for years and years. So he spent a lot of years out of the back of Brian's boat learning from Brian. I'm really interested on how that relationship worked, how that meant. It seemed like a mentor type relationship, but he came out of that out of the front of the boat and just shot out of a cannon with a big win. So that'll be real interesting. But it's going to be great to have Brian there. I know out in Tulsa we've got Jason Christie is going to be there. As always, our local favorite, people, Jason they know Jason as being a big time winner. He's a closer. And who else we got out there, Riz?
We have in Tulsa, Oklahoma, our lineup is Ish Monroe, Jason Christie, JT Kenny, Wesley Strader, Stetson Blaylock, and
Jamie Hartman?
Jamie Hartman.
Wow.
Yep.
Yeah.
So we got a star-studded lineup out in Tulsa. Rounding out the field for us in Anderson, we have Brian Thrift, Gerald Swindle, John Cruz, Brandon Cobb, Brian Latimer, and Matt Airy. So if anybody is interested in coming to see those guys, head over to thebassuniversity.com, get your tickets. It's absolutely worth it. The experience that you get with the Bass University is second to none. After you see the seminars, we do a breakout session where you get some one-on-one time with these guys, get your questions answered individually, get a little bit of face-to-face, and just really be able to take and learn from all these guys' experiences.
You know what else is cool about those events? I think is really neat is the students are all fish heads like us. And I can't tell you how many times guys meet their fishing partner for like the next 5 years at a Bass University class. Cool. You know what I mean? It is cool. It's wintertime. It's cold. The patterns are dead in most places and ice in a lot of places. Yep. So, a bunch of like-minded guys sitting around talking about fishing for a weekend. It's a pretty cool deal.
Yeah, that's really cool, actually. And I believe that. Probably, when you do your bass shoe stuff, the guys are fishing the same bodies of water, so they have a lot in common.
That's right.
It makes it easy for them.
It does. Boaters meet co-anglers, and they pair up, make friendships that last a lifetime, and that's the way fishing works. Yeah. And in our last class, guys, and we don't want to leave out Minnesota. We're still putting together our full lineup for Minnesota, but I know we're going to have Seth Fider there,
and I'll be there at that one. And
we are going to have GDP at your first Bass University for us.
Yep. Yeah, I'm real excited about that, man. I went to my first Bass U. How long you guys been around for? How many?
It's 11 years now.
11 years. So it was probably close to your first year doing it, actually. I went to one down in Orlando, Florida. And, dude, I remember it all today. It's just amazing how things work out.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I didn't see. We have another elite angler that has graduated from Bass University.
For sure.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it is.
No, well, it's cool that it's been full circle for you. And I'm looking forward to speaking with you. I'll be in Minnesota too. Yeah. And we have got, I believe, Brandon Polinick is going to be coming to our Minnesota event. We've got 2 more speakers to announce there too.
You'll be there, Pete. You'll be a speaker at Minnesota.
I will be there. You know what I'm going to be speaking about in Minnesota?
What's that?
Is I'm taking on riprap fishing. And I was inspired by it by me and professional fish head Fish Lake Jordan riprap just about a month ago, and just caught the daylights out of them on wiggle warts.
I saw the one you caught.
Yeah,
Right?
that was a giant. That was my personal best for the year.
Wow,
it was an 8.3 or something like that. That was a good one. But it inspired me to riprap exists at every single body of water everywhere there is around the country.
Yeah.
Whether it's riprap from private homes, from dam construction, bridge construction. Yeah. And the different types of riprap have different patterns that are associated with them. Sometimes fish spawn on it. The fall is always such a good time. They stage in the pre-spawn, and there's different strategies, to fish it all the time, and you lose an awful lot of lures.
Yeah.
Fishing riprap sometimes.
It's funny you said that. I never actually thought about that, but it is everywhere as I've probably ever been.
Mm-hmm. It's absolutely true, and it's such a big certain times of year, especially. The lake we were fishing was low, and recently, and the fall patterns were creating the bait fish congregations, and these riprap that intersected the main river channel. Oh my gosh, there was just bass congregated everywhere.
Yeah, you guys won that tournament too, right?
Yeah, we did. We're awful proud of that. Yeah. We fished against the Cash and Crew.
Cash and Crew champions.
Yes,
2019.
We're going for
Let's
2
go.
in a row.
Cash and Crew, gang.
Can't wait till next year. But use that John Cruz 711 crankbait rod. By the way, you guys haven't checked that rod out from Cash, and it is by far my favorite crankbait rod.
Sold a few of those this weekend in Gadsden, Alabama.
Is that right?
We actually sold a lot of Cash and rods this weekend in Gadsden, Alabama, and some happy new owners of Cash.
7-Eleven, huh?
So.
Yeah.
Got to try it, BTC. Yeah. You can't imagine the leverage that you can get on a fish when he bites.
I can imagine.
It's a powerful tool.
Yeah.
Casting distance too. I'd imagine it. I watched. We were fishing some of the same stretches of Riprap Bank in that tournament, Pete, and it seemed like your casting with that was just so effortless. Just one hand with a wiggle wart, just and it just goes and goes and goes.
I remember the old pistol grips. You wouldn't even cast 7-Eleven with it.
Yeah.
They were something though.
7-Eleven was the
Accuracy.
length of your cast with those.
That's why my wrists are still jacked up.
Yeah.
One of the reasons.
Man, remember they were so popular. Yep.
So anyway, as always, we're going to be taking your questions all night on the message board. They'll be coming through to me. If you want to get your questions involved in the show, you got to be on bassu.tv/live. That's where you're going to get your questions through to us and get them answered. If you're over there on Facebook and YouTube and you're still milling around, head over to bassu.tv. Sign up right now. You're going to get 30 days for free when you sign up. So it's 30 days for free. Be a part of the show. Get some chances to win some awesome prizes. You can see them over there on the table. It's really a win-win for everybody. So head over to bashu.tv/live to watch the show and sign up for free. BU Live 30 is your code for 30 days free right now. So,
And for the guys on Facebook, we have a like and share contest tonight. We got a $70 prize pack in leading lures. Buddy of ours, Jake, young man, 20 years old, started his own bait company. So awesome box of tungsten weights and some soft plastics. $70 value of leading lures, tungstens, and soft plastics. So check them out, leadinglures.com.
yeah.
We're gonna like and share on Facebook, which I got to go over and do right now.
Yes, like and share on Facebook.
We're gonna. Do you have some promotions you can talk about while I go and like and share us?
Yeah, we do. We're going to be giving away a grand prize tonight too, Pete. And the grand prize is a Wego. And that Wego 44 is a $150 value. And that's an awesome item to have on your boat if you're traveling. If you're ever jammed up and your batteries go dead, that Wego is going to get you back in the game and get you moving again. So we're giving one of those away tonight, and that will be for a trivia question.
Yes, we got
that
it.
is provided to us by none other than
Ken Duke. Outstanding trivia question, too, by the way. He sent up some really good ones over. So
That was
Fun
fun
stuff, yeah.
Yeah, we went over that trivia question before we came on and it stumped all of us.
Yeah.
But it's a fun question.
it's outstanding.
Yeah.
I got a
Thank you,
question.
Ken.
I got a question on the message board already, directly for Greg.
Yep.
And Matt in Wisconsin likes to know, what is your favorite trailer for a chatterbait and your favorite trailer for a swim jig?
Well, it's a pretty easy one for me actually because it's almost what I throw exclusively. A Yamamoto Seiko for my chatterbait. Yeah, and then as far as the swim jig goes, they just came out with a paddle tail in the same exact design as the Seiko, so they got a paddle tail version now. So that's going to be my number one this year for my swim jig.
Yeah.
Period. They're the only two I throw, and I do a lot of chatterbait fishing.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I know that's a huge deal, and you fish the upper Chesapeake
Yep.
like I do, and both of those weapons are pretty powerful down there.
Pete, we got a follow-up question from Matt. What's your trailer for your Senko?
My trailer for my Senko is a VMC Half Moon 16th ounce weight.
Okay.
There you go. I
the back end.
got an answer for that. Can't stump the dean.
That's right.
Come on.
We got one more from Mike P before we take a quick break. This question is for both you guys. What do you think one sleeper technique will be this year in 2020 across all the tours? One sleeper technique.
You know, I'll tackle that first, and man, I got to go with this Tokyo rig, and it's kind of a sleeper. You hear a lot of guys talking about it. Of course, you know they're promoting it, and you see it advertised a lot. But down in Florida,
Yeah, I saw that.
I saw it mentioned a few times.
Yep, I saw that.
in the top 12.
Yep.
We're using that Tokyo rig, so that's my guess.
I'm going to say, and this is going to stand out in one event we have this year, and I'm just going to use it. It's actually an old school bait that I don't really throw that much, and I'm not sure a lot of guys still do, but they're probably going to, is a flat-sided crankbait. Yeah, I think for Chickamauga that might shine this year for us guys.
Right.
And it's not because I did research and said that. It's just something I just keep thinking about in my mind
Yeah,
over and over. It's just so deadly in cold water.
it definitely is. I love flat side fishing, and I know Rapple is actually working on a top secret flat side. At least I hope they are.
Yeah.
And you know, it's an incredible weapon to catch them in cold water. It can catch them in a lot of scenarios. Honestly, it's one of my secrets down on the bay. Is I catch them during the spawn.
You know, somebody else told me that actually.
Yeah, is that right?
Yeah, they did. And they said their favorite time to throw it's during the spawn.
Yeah, you can pick them off. It's a little different where we fish. It has tides, and the fish can they behave differently. But a lot of times on that really really low tide, man, you can't catch them on much. But that little flat side and chartreuse looks just like a bluegill raiding their nest.
Yeah.
And I can't get them to do that in most places around the country. But where I fish on the beds, that little flat side gets them during the spawn.
So the guy that told me, you probably know him. You know Ed Lochran?
Yeah.
So Ed used to guide on the Potomac, and he kind of gave me the same advice.
Yeah.
It's funny you said the Chesapeake it works on. So maybe on tidal water it really shines.
Maybe that's the deal.
Yeah.
Ed's out on the Elite Tour.
Yes, he is. Yep.
Yeah, another sophomore
Yep.
out on the Elite Tour this year.
Yeah, he's a good guy, man.
Yeah. We like Ed. He's been around us for a long time. What do you got, BTC?
We're going to take a quick 40-second break. And for you guys out there, again, like and share the feed. And if you want to be a part of tonight's show, win that WeGo and some other prizes, come on over to bassu.tv/live. Use code BULive30.
Unfortunately, you're not going to win the Facebook like and share contest because I just liked and shared our feed on my own pages.
Yeah.
So I'm probably going to win that contest. But take a shot anyway. Go over, like it,
Iaconelli.
share it.
This
hey,
is
guys.
Bass U TV. Here's what's awesome about Bass U TV.
You get the top instructors.
You will learn things at Bass U that you will learn nowhere else.
And we help you build confidence with new techniques.
We take the mystery and the myths out of bass fishing.
Real tools that help you catch more fish consistently.
At Bass U TV, shoes are optional.
And I like turtles.
We teach you to enjoy bass fishing.
And that's why you want to check out Bass U TV.
Join the Bass U family.
Welcome to Bass U TV.
It's Mike Iaconelli.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back. I hope you took the time to go over and join BassU.tv. If you haven't yet, go do it right now. I want you to...
lightning fingers. You better be quick hitting on the keyboard, boy.
we
snapping.
We had a shorter break than anticipated.
Everything was off.
Yeah, we were a little off. But hey, go over and sign up. We got something going on right now. We're giving away 2 Rapallo Shadow Wraps. In addition to a Flambeau Tackle Box Bass University hat, $50 gift pack for all annual subscribers to Bass U TV. So it's a great time to take advantage of that opportunity, or you can try it for 30 days free. Use the code BassULive30. But I got a beef with Matthew McConaughey.
What?
Come
on, let's hear it.
Yeah, you know what he advertises for Lincoln, right? Isn't that the auto brand that he advertises?
He had an
for?
old commercial where it was like him and a bull in the middle of the road. It was like a meeting of the minds type thing.
Yeah. Well, he's got it equally. Well, I got to point it out, man. There's no way in the world he's going to catch a fish. He's ice fishing out of the back of his Lincoln, and he's got a tip up. Like, he's all by himself. Beautiful, mountainous.
Beautiful Matthew McConaughey.
Yeah, beautiful Matthew McConaughey. And his tip-up's like 300 yards out on the ice. And he's sitting in his Lincoln all warm and toasty, and he's got his binoculars. And his tip-up goes up. And he just puts his binoculars down and casually starts walking out to that tip up. He has absolutely no chance of catching that fish.
It's McConaughey. That fish
got to run.
That fish is staying there for McConaughey. If you were him, you'd know. You'd walk like that too.
Yeah, you're probably right. Yeah, it just all comes your way.
Yeah.
That's it.
When you look like that. That's
right.
good.
Before we went to that break, Greg, you said something that really stuck out to me.
Yeah.
That you said you've been thinking about this bait, the flat side, and you're just thinking about it. Isn't it amazing that, at least for me, I've noticed that like when that happens, like you make it so real that it's going to be the pattern or going to be the deal that it is.
That happens to me also, dude, so much. It's so crazy how it works.
Yeah.
It's like you force feed it mentally.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, for sure. I've done that on a lot of different occasions.
Yep. Self-talk, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
believe it and you can do it.
Well, you know, there's a couple different ways to think about, you know, doing well in events, and you can look for the dominant patterns, or you can look for the patterns that fall into your strengths.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And a lot of times the big wins come that way. They come from finding the parts of the lake that is your strength.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
And that means, it might not be the dominant pattern. And a lot of times winds aren't.
They are, yeah.
They are, they come on obscure kind of stuff that other people are missing. Now, the dominant patterns will be 2nd through 12th, but the winner sometimes does something a little obscure.
Yep.
But GDP, we are so glad to have you with us. He's going to be co-hosting with me and Mike Iaconelli, and we're going to see Mike. More likely, we'll be talking to him later. For you guys just tuning in, we're celebrating my new co-host, GDP. We're celebrating Bryan New, the winner of the first Bassmaster Open. We're going to be having him on in just a few minutes, so hang in there for that. And we're also going to be talking about Bass University. Guys, if you've been to a Bass University class this weekend, we'd love to hear from you guys.
Yeah,
we had people all over the country, and we really enjoyed having you guys in class, and we've got big classes coming up this weekend, and then again, we've got a class coming up in March, So that's what's going on the show tonight. So bring your questions. We're giving away tons of prizes. Going to have some fun. But we're going to talk with GDP. Greg, this is your sophomore year. You had, you had a pretty damn good year this year as a freshman. It was you had 2 top 20s, 3 top 20s and a top 10 in your first year out on the Elite Tour.
Yeah, not too shabby. This year last year in Elite Series Tour, I only seen one body of water as far as tournaments go.
No kidding.
Yeah, so everything was pretty brand new to me.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Well, that can be a real benefit sometimes.
I agree.
But it's also a testament to you. I mean, you're a rookie or sophomore this year out on tour, but you qualified for the elites back in 06. You've been fishing quite a long time.
Yeah, a real long time.
And you back in 06, and this might blow a lot of you guys' minds, but back in 2006, you qualified for the elites. You were in your 20s.
Yep, low 20s.
And you opted not to go.
Correct. It was a financial reason. That's why I backed out of it.
Right.
Yeah.
Do you think? Well, obviously, it takes a lot of money. It's a big financial commitment. But looking back, do you think maybe that was a great thing because you were able to get a lot of more experience under your belt that you have now that you didn't have then?
Yeah, it was everything. Even as far as these Bass U go, we didn't have that back then. And dude, it could just speed everything up tremendously as far as learning curve. And for me, it was back then. I might have thought that I was ready to go, but I wasn't. All them years in between from 2006 till now, man. At the time I regretted it, but now looking back, zero regret because, dude, I molded myself, by fishing the Opens, and then also the business side, financially it helped me out as far as working the industry. But man, you got to learn your basis before you can really take off in this sport. That's for sure.
Yeah, because if you look back, I mean, it could have gone wrong, like it does go wrong for a lot of guys.
Yep.
But you could have invested that money, started out too early without the knowledge and experience that you have now. And if you failed then, that might have been it.
Yeah, I might not be sitting here today.
Right.
Something could be completely different. Yep.
Things happen when they're supposed to happen.
All right, dude, after all the stuff that's happened to me over these years, I'm a firm believer in that now, big time. Just let it take its course, man. If something happens bad, just let it go and move on.
Right.
Whether it's fishing or whatever it is.
Yeah, that's great advice. I mean, things happen for a reason. You got to learn to find the positive or spin it into a positive, and that's really the best solution because, I mean, look where you're at right now because of that, and you qualified again. You made the elites. You've gone at your first tournament. I mean, let's go back there for a second.
Yeah.
How was that? Were you freaking out, man?
No, I mean, even though I wasn't in the Elite Series, I was pretty well seasoned from all them years fishing the Opens. Did I feel pressure? No, I felt more excited more than anything, as far as fishing it. And it that first event last year was awesome. I mean, I crushed them. So, it just all
that was on the
out.
St. John
River, yep.
Would you have a 18th or 16th?
16th, I think it was.
Okay.
Yeah, pretty good first event.
Right.
I was, dude, you get in day 3, I mean, as a rookie, I was like, this is pretty cool, man. Just day 1 weighing in on that stage and catching them was just, everything you see and more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's very exciting. So you started out like with a ball of thunder and Got a little bit tougher after that, right?
Yeah.
You ran into some stumbling blocks.
Yeah, you can say that. Yeah, whatever I can break last year, I broke off the boat. So
Did
literally.
you have some of those moments?
Yeah, I had a lot of the moments last year.
Was it breaking off fish or just angry because you missed the patterns? Or
No, breaking stuff on the boat. I dumped a motor last year. And
Okay.
Yeah, I broke it off the back of the boat. Had something fail. I blew a compressor one
Wait a
time when
minute.
yeah.
The motor
Gone.
in a tournament?
I went to actually fishing the BFL when it came off.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, on the Chesapeake.
Wow. Is
Yeah.
it still out there?
It's still out there. Yeah.
Riz?
I have the
We
waypoint.
need that motor.
I'm the only one. Yeah. Yeah, she's about 20 feet deep.
Yeah. We'll find that.
Yeah.
Anything using it?
What's that?
You think they're using it?
Who? The fish?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're using it.
They probably are using
It's a
it.
little rock pile.
Yeah.
The striper are probably using it where it's at.
The herring or the striper?
Yeah, I know exactly where it's at. I side scanned over and I saw it. And I did scan it one time with 2D and I saw a bunch of arches on it.
No kidding.
They had, like steady lines on it. Yep.
How about that?
Sweet.
Jeez.
Yep.
Wow. Yeah, so that that's a big part of fishing that that a lot of people don't understand. They think it's about pattern fishing, going out there, finding the fish, trying to compete, but man, you almost got to be a part-time mechanic.
Yeah,
out on tour.
The variables that can happen in this sport is like no other sport out there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's just you can't control a lot of this sport.
Yeah.
What you can control, you try, and sometimes that doesn't even help.
Yep. It's tough. And
Yeah.
best advice I ever got came at a Bass University. And it came from the general, Larry Nixon, right? And when he talks, you got to listen. But Larry told me that one of the big things that has helped him is backing off just a little bit.
Yeah.
On everything, like as far as operating the boat goes. Like instead of running at 6,000 RPMs,
Yeah.
he runs at 58 and 5,900
He's probably right.
on purpose.
Yeah.
He backs it off, not back it off like an old man would.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Back it off just a little bit in the things that you do with your boat.
Yep.
And he has never blown a power head.
Wow.
He doesn't have mechanical failures. It's such a huge thing because when you're running your boat like Riz does, there's a lot of breakage.
Yeah, I rebuilt my bilge. I don't know, probably half a dozen times last year. Seemed like before every
Yep.
weekend tournament, I wasn't practicing on Friday because I was redoing the bilge.
Yeah.
I'm sure we can all relate some way.
Yeah,
I mean,
sure.
you're gonna break it. It happens all the time, and like when I run in the big water a lot, and you see those 5 to 10 foot waves, and I've learned that hey, sometimes 18 miles an hour is okay.
Yeah.
I'll take I still got 40 miles to go, but right now I'm staring at 6-footers and I can go 18 miles an hour.
Mm-hmm.
I'll take 18 miles an hour.
Yeah. I mean, in that sense, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
But I remember being
Because it don't matter. It don't matter how good your juice is.
Yeah, if you can't get to it.
If you rip your trolling motor off,
Yep.
or you blow out your whatever, you break something, you're not fishing those fish.
you're not fishing those fish.
Yeah.
So you just wasted your time and
Yeah.
your energy. So I've taken Larry's advice and it's helped me tremendously. I don't break my equipment near as much. I'm easier on my trolling motor. Like I used to run it into the dirt all the time. Just you're always going hard.
Yeah.
Because you have that sense of urgency. You want to win.
Yeah.
But I found that by down throttling just a bit, I break less, and that helps me a lot.
I'll take your advice this year, Pete.
Well, and so that's key. That variable. I remember breaking down in my. You could be on winning fish. I remember breaking down and. Oh my gosh! I remember at Okeechobee, I was on. It doesn't even have to be rough water. I remember it was slick as glass, and I was running back from South Bay with a nice stringer of fish that was going to give me a nice check in that tournament. And about 5 miles from the entrance to the Kissimmee River, where the takeoff was, blew my power head.
Oh man!
I'm sitting out there, I'm last flight, dead in the water. Nobody was behind me, so I was done. And actually, I called in tournament director to call for help because I was so close. And Gerald Swindle actually weighed in his fish. I always appreciated that. Thank you, buddy. But he jumped in his boat and ran that thing as fast as he could out to me, found me. It was hard not to. I mean, it was not a cloud in the sky, but he found me, put my fish in his boat, me and my partner, and ran us back in. And we had a 11-pound penalty. But that was really that. I lost the check. I lost everything. But I was appreciative of that.
Yeah.
You know? But that's the variable that you don't hear about, man. You don't see that in the asterisk line. Oh, he finished in 50th place. But with an asterisk, it says, well, he blew his power head, crashed his truck, or lost his prop. You don't see that. It just says 50th place.
Yeah, what's on paper never tells the true story.
Yeah,
ever.
There's a lot more to it.
A ton.
That's pretty cool.
Yep.
Is there any crazy stories from the trail? I mean, other than your motor flying off?
Nah, I mean that was that was the craziest. I mean, I hit a deer last year, smashed my truck on the way to one of the events. Missed pre-practice for 2 events actually. You know, I almost sunk the boat because I had line stuck in my bilge in one of the events. I basically missed
that.
Yeah, I missed 2 regular season days last year of the season.
No kidding.
Yeah, and I still came out where I came out. So
wow,
who knows what could happen if I had a normal year?
Wow.
You know, not broke stuff. But
well, did you break down during actual competition?
yes, Winyao Bay, I blew my compressor.
Oh wow!
And I thought I could win that event.
Right.
Period. Yeah, I found them hard.
Man.
Yeah.
So you didn't get to fish them at all?
Day 2, I didn't.
Okay.
Nope.
Yeah, that's part of the sport, man.
It is. It is.
But you, even with all that,
Yep.
Man, you find yourself going to the big dance.
Yes. Yep.
coming in March.
Yeah. So pretty much, this whole last month and a half, I've been on the road. I went and practiced. I went to the St. John's. I went to Santee Cooper. I went to where the Classic is down in Alabama. I went to Chickamauga in Tennessee. I went to Eufaula in Alabama. I've been on the road, man. I've been going hard.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's fun. That's one of my funnest parts that I really liked is the pre-practice part of scouting these new bodies of water that you've never been to.
Yep.
Especially, there's no pressure. You get to look.
Yep.
You don't have the pressures of a tournament weighing down on you,
Yeah.
So that had to be a good experience.
Yeah, maybe for my Bass U out there in Minnesota, I got a pretty good way that I actually do my practices, my pre-practices.
Really?
And as far as my layout, I've never seen it anywhere else on the internet. So
Talk to me.
Well, I don't want to spill the juice right now.
All right. Well,
it's pretty good stuff, though. I think.
Well, one of the things that we talked about on the ride over here was that you don't do any fishing during your pre-practice.
No, I don't fish at all.
That's hard to do.
At all, ever. Zero. Like when I go for pre-practice.
Oh, pre-practice.
Yes.
Okay, but not official practice.
No, not official practice. No.
Wow, you scared me.
Yeah, scared me too.
I felt gas pains all of a sudden when you said that.
Well, that's like you too, Mike. You're and of course Mike Iaconelli's joining us. Appreciate you, Mike.
He made sure to come back with a mouth still full of food.
Yeah, I'm gonna be snapping when I come back.
Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome.
Appreciate you.
No
but
problem.
you do. It's hard to do. You guys both have adopted that where you lock your rod lockers.
Yeah.
And you just look.
Yeah. Yeah, I in pre-practice, like you were talking about, it's the right thing to do because you start fishing, and I've made that mistake early in my career. I had some classics that I bombed because I practiced in that pre-practice, and I found stuff that was really good. But that's 30 days before the event or more.
Yeah.
There's,
with fishing, man, there's 2 kind of histories. There's good history and there's bad history, and you don't want to get them mixed up.
Yeah.
And if you can kind of decipher both of them, man, it can make a big difference in your fishing. And that's, something I could talk about too if I was to go out there and, make my seminar on this whole entire scenario, because that's kind of what it comes down to.
Right.
So,
What's an example of bad history?
Bad history is basically what Mike just said. You go there 30 days prior and you go there, you put your boat in the water and you go right back to what's completely different for the time of the year.
Mm-hmm.
That's bad history.
Right.
Bad history, can't say the F word on the show. It mind screws you.
Yeah.
Because you can close your eyes, and you're on that spot, you close your eyes, and you remember the sheer amount of big fish you caught.
Yep.
And it sucks you in. Even though party is like, this is a different time, leave, it's different.
Mm-hmm.
You keep remembering those big bites, and it forces you to stay.
Yep.
Even if it's like, it's not all the time you commit to it totally, but you spend 4 hours there when you should have left in 15 minutes. Mm-hmm. It's those kind of things where that bad history kills you.
Yeah. And that's the hardest thing to do is, you talk about fish in the moment, and when you have that history weighing on you, it's hard to do that.
Yeah.
And the worst way to do that is you go a month before and you fish a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
we're seeing a lot more and more guys do that, but you still see guys make that mistake that they break those rods out, and it's hard, man.
It's hard.
We love to fish.
It's hard.
On that topic, we have a good question that's totally related to this from Wawa Hoagie Lady. She wants to know
Wawa Hoagie Lady.
She wants to know when you're in that pre-practice mode, whatever it is, and you're marking fish on your sonar. How do you definitely identify those as bass to get them on those areas?
Who's this for? Me? Anybody?
Yeah, anybody? Yeah.
Go ahead.
Open it up.
Well, it depends, man. And in all honesty, so like let's say I'm going out to like Lake Erie, where if I'm there in August and the tournament's in September, where it's not going to change too much. Dude, it's kind of weird. I mean, a lot of times once you get in the zone on them places, you know what you're seeing down there in your graph too. So that's the other side of it. But if I do go to a place where it's not going to change a lot, then I would probably throw some casts. But for the most part, I don't fish. But that's pretty much it for me. I mean, I'm really, really against that. What Mike just talked about as far as going into your head and screwing yourself. I've learned a long time ago you can't do it that way because it will hurt you. I promise you, and it's hurt so many people. Look at how many local tournaments where guys show up that are favored to win there. Where they end up at usually really bad in the tournament.
Right.
It happens all the time. And it's because of them same scenarios.
Mike, do you key on actually seeing fish, or are you more looking for habitat?
I look more for structural contour changes in a combination with cover. They're the two things I really look for. If I see fish around this bait, I'll make a note about that on that waypoint, or I'll code it a little different. But I'll be honest with you, dude, and Brian knows this for a fact. I can read a graph, but I suck at knowing what that fish is. I have no idea. I'm clueless. So many guys are so good at it. Aaron Martins knows it's a 2.5 pound bass. I don't know anything like that.
You know it's a giant, though.
I know it's a giant. If it's a keeper, it's a giant.
Well, that's a good thing to know.
Yeah, but no. So I don't. The fish thing doesn't play for me, especially in the pre-practice at all.
Yeah.
I do make a note if there's a lot of fish in the area and there's fish around, but it's more about the change. It's about that contour change, and it's about a piece of something in that contour change.
Right.
Yeah. That's the important thing for me.
Well, I want to Wawa Hoagie Lady, go check out Carl Jacobson's on-water seminar I did down in Florida.
Gloyd Live.
we were on the Humminbirds and using downscan.
Yeah.
And this one moment he picked the bass out of the vegetation, and I'm like, stop right now, freeze the screen.
Yeah.
We're talking about this.
Wow.
Why is that a bass?
On down imaging.
Yeah. How do you know that's a bass? Describe it. And he does.
Wow.
He explains.
I haven't seen that one. I need to go back and review that one.
That's an amazing one. And
what color palette was he using?
Just the gold.
The gold and brown?
Like the gold and just
goldish
black
brown?
background.
Yeah.
It looked
on
like
down.
Yeah, it looked like the default setting on it, really.
Yeah.
The color palette, but you could see the grass.
Demo mode?
You could see the fish, and the fish inside the grass. For me, it was new because I'd never done that before.
Yeah.
We fish so shallow most of the time,
Right.
that you can't use it that way.
Yeah.
But he was looking at that, and he did have a caveat saying that this is likely a bass.
Right.
Right. So a lot of that is educated guess. Like when you're on Lake Erie, it's either a smallmouth or a drum.
Yeah.
Right.
Well,
It's one of those two.
That's cool. I got to go back and review that because with 2D for years before the whole side imaging and down imaging came around, it was hard in grass scenarios to decipher where the fish was at. Same thing when there'd be a ton of bait. A lot of times it was hard to see that fish. It was hard to see the fish when the fish were really tight to the bottom on 2D. But with down imaging, I don't know Humminbird as well, but I know it's a lot easier. With Lowrance, they actually have a setting where, I think it's called what is it called? Lowrance. I'm a Lowrance guy and I don't know the setting. But you actually see the marks as like white marks. I use a blue and white palette. And so on 2D, I'll look and I can't decipher anything, whether it's a fish or not, but it'll pop out like an actual fish arc. Not a dot, but an arc. And that's on the Lowrance unit has that.
Nice.
And that's with down imaging. So down imaging's crazy technology.
Yeah.
It's changed it.
And I'm still, man, I still go to that default 2D sonar. I still feel so comfortable there that I'm still incorporating.
Don't feel bad. Guys are still using flashers.
Effectively.
Larry
too.
Nixon
I don't
and
know how they do
Fritz.
it.
Yep. Well, I tell you, the best tool that I use to find use my sonar at practice, and it's really closer to the tournament as far as finding fish, is that and this is I did it twice. I did it down at Douglas Lake, and I do it up on the Great Lakes whenever I'm fishing deep. And when I start catching them, right, I stop catching them, and I drive over that school of fish at 30 miles an hour. Just run over them.
Yeah.
And
at 30. At 30, not an idle. You
I do it at both, but I want to go over it at 30 at like a low speed so that I can see what active feeding largemouth or smallmouth look like at 30 miles an hour. So now I can run the lake at 30 miles an hour, and I can see what that looks like.
Yeah.
And I can tell you this: when you drive when you drive over a bass at 30 miles an hour, it looks like the tip of his pen.
It's straight.
It looks
straight
like
up and down.
Straight up and down,
Yeah.
coming off the bottom. That's all it looks like. You'll see the habitat, and you'll see it on the screen. And most guys are going to say that. Well, that's nothing. That's a stick of a piece of grass, or it's nothing. But that's actually what a fish looks like at 30 miles an hour.
Yeah. They call it power graphing.
Right.
A lot of guys, man, I like Wheeler, I know does that a lot. I've seen him before doing it. He's just out there doing that barely on pad, and you see him marking, and I'm like, what the hell? And he'll grid an area on pad, big area, mile, 2, 3, 4 mile area, and then he'll come back and fish, you know? And he's power graphing. When you get good at it, it's awesome. I can't do it very well, but sounds cool. I'd like to be able to do that.
It's amazing to watch him do it because I see him doing it at practice. Wheeler, at some of the opens that we fished together, and
does it a lot.
I mean, he's on that graph just nonstop, even during official practice. So he's taking it to another level and being able to identify fish. Which is a tremendous skill if you can acquire it.
Yeah.
Got to run the electronics, man.
Back to that grass thing real quick. So on the recaps on the last tournament in Florida, the one we're going to talk about tonight, Buddy Gross was talking about how he was seeing the fish down in the grass also.
Is that right?
Yes.
Was he on down or 2D sonar?
He didn't say, but on the recap he was talking about looking at the fish in the grass as he was idling over them.
Wow.
As he was idling over them.
Yep.
Now here's a question. Wow. Here's a question for you guys, because when you're on 2D sonar, you can see the difference in the density of your color palette. Like if something's lighter or darker or blue or yellow, depending on what kind of unit you use, it, to me at least, I think it means something's either dense or hollow or whatever. On downscan, you don't have that difference in the color palette. So I find it interesting that Carl was able to identify them on downscan.
Yeah, it separates targets more. You don't have the color difference to see density.
Right.
But it makes the fish pop out of the surrounding area better.
Right.
So you see that white dot where you don't see that on 2D because it blends in.
Right.
And
it's smaller, right? On downscan, it's your marks are smaller, right? Because it's higher frequency. You're running a higher kilohertz.
It depends. It depends. It certainly can be smaller. And when I'm thinking of what Carl was showing us, it was a clear mark, and it was white. It comes up as a hard reading.
Dude, I've seen down imaging images on social media and stuff. Not necessarily of freshwater fish,
right?
But I've seen, like, did you ever see the tarpon images?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Dude, it looks like a freaking tarpon. Like you look at it's a tarpon. I can see the.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I got a picture on my phone somewhere in my camera roll from Lanier this year, and I scanned by a dock, and you can pick out all 3 fish and all their fins as I drove by. You saw them all.
No
side
kidding.
scan?
Spotted bass?
Yeah, on side scan. Yeah, spotted bass.
Spotted bass.
Clear,
Wow.
clear as can be.
Insane.
It is insane.
It's getting too good.
It is getting
the
too good.
technology.
It's
is
not fair for the fish.
Yeah, but that being said,
Yeah,
you
and,
know,
and then you'll fish
it
a
takes
tournament,
time.
and you're like, "Where are all the fish? Why can't I catch them?"
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Well, it's like you guys do at practice. Is the big key here is when you get these, advanced stuff, you get the, Humminbird side imaging and 360. It just isn't going to do it itself. You've got to get out there and practice.
Oh, for sure.
You've got to get around grass. You've got to get around rocks. You got to get around feeding fish and see how that sonar is interpreting it.
Yeah.
That's the lesson. Because what do? We get to fish 2 weekends a year, and we get our boat on the water finally. What do? We make casts and we go fishing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Less time learning.
Yeah, we need some. You need to lock those rod lockers sometimes,
Lock them up.
especially when it comes to learning.
I'm
sonar.
locked up. They won't let me out.
Well, we're celebrating Greg. He's here with us. You're going to the Classic,
Yep.
and yeah.
Birmingham, baby. We'll be back there March 6th, 7th, and 8th. We just came from there, Pete. We were
That's
picking
right, you
guys up in
flew in.
Birmingham. We picked up Ike at the airport. We dropped people off at the airport. Birmingham. We'll see you soon.
Be ham.
Well, I think this is an interesting opportunity because you have here in the room a guy that has fished more classics than most all people on the planet.
Yeah.
Do you have any questions about
Zog?
Zoggy.
Do you have any questions about the Classic?
No, when I was here for the fireside chat, me and Mike just talked about the whole dynamics of fishing in Classic a little bit, and he gave me some of his tips or pointers he would lean towards, or as far as the mental side of the game as fishing it. But no, I don't really have any questions. I mean, I'm just gonna take it like every other tournament. I'm there to win. I'm just going to go out there and go fishing. I did my pre-practice. I did my homework beyond my homework, as far as internet research. I found some stuff that, man, textbook-wise, when we go back, and if it's a pre-spawn situation, dude, I don't know if anybody's ever found this stuff because I've spent so much time sitting on my butt scanning. It's just crazy. I mean,
How many days?
I don't know. It was a lot.
Like a dozen days?
No, I don't think it was a dozen. It was probably 10. Yeah.
That's a lot.
Of scanning.
a lot of time.
Scanning. Like a tremendous amount. But I don't know the place at all. So I took my time, and when I went there, I told Kelly, I said, I'm going, and when I feel like coming home, I'm done. That's when I'm coming home. I don't have a set time.
Wow.
That's what I did.
Good for you.
Did you target the whole fishery? Did you eliminate some? And I don't want to know specific spots.
No, that's a good question because one good thing going back to good history, and especially it seems like on Gunnersville, a lot of them fish relate to the same areas over and over every single tournament I've ever watched.
Yeah.
So that kind of gave me a real good direction once I got there where I need to spend a majority of my time in my pre-practice.
Yeah.
And that's what I did. And I also found some stuff that, we got kind of a trained eye a little bit when I'm going down or I'm reading my graph, looking at Lake Master, and I can see, where these fish should be coming from or going to. So I really looked at it all that. I mean, I covered it all. If I catch them, I catch them. If I don't, I put my time in. It's just a matter of if it's going to happen or not.
Yeah.
That's all there is to it. There's, that's just how I look at it. I'm not trying to be positive or negative. That's just the truth about fishing. If you put your time in this sport, I think a lot of that's a big part of it. I really do. You put the work in, and then from there, it's just the variables.
Yeah. Work usually pays off.
Yeah.
I could tell I look back, I've looked back on my career, and a lot of times I put that work in, and it didn't pay off.
Yeah.
And you say to yourself, on the drive back from that terrible tournament, you're like, it's not fair, you know? Like I killed myself in pre-practice and practice every day preparing, and the guy that won just showed up, and and you like, why,
Right.
But there are a lot of times where it did really pay off, and I look back and I say that won it for me.
Yep.
Working my ass off, fishing dark to dark, won it for me.
Right.
So you got to be willing to take the good with the bad, and I know you're going to do that. You know,
Yep.
like you said, you put your work in. If you catch them, you catch them.
Yep.
If you don't, you can't fault yourself for not putting the work in.
I think that's the greatest way to go about it too, and bring Jacob Wheeler back into conversation, because I heard him say this at Bass U, that he practices a lot. He's always practicing. He's always scouting. He's always looking, and for that reason, that was his answer. Is that like other athletes, they're always practicing.
Yeah.
They're always shooting jump shots. They're always setting up scrambles.
Yeah.
And that's the way he practices.
Well, shit, we had Pete. We had Lane Johnson here just a little bit ago doing a fireside chat, and we talked about that with him.
Philadelphia
Eagles, and he does not stop practicing.
Yeah,
like when he's not practicing, when season's over, right now, he's getting ready for Pro Bowl or whatever. When that's done, he's training 5 days a week. He's training. He's still on his own. He's watching tape. He's working with mental coaches. He's never stops. It's 12 months out of the year. It's amazing. You know what I mean? That's what it takes.
And I feel that, I think talent can be overrated a lot of times, because you see the guys at the top of their sport, like him, like you. The work ethic is what really gets you there. You got to have talent, but to a lot of guys with too much talent get lazy. Right? Things come easy to them early, and they tend to not work as hard as others.
I was hungry.
Like McConaughey.
Yeah, like McConaughey. By the way, Brian Tuffy on the message board said that, Pete, you're much sexier than Matthew McConaughey.
Yeah, that's a fact.
I would say one more thing.
Appreciate you recognizing that.
one more thing to add to this, and dude, this goes for bass fishing, and anglers more than any sport that I've ever seen. Bass fishermen aren't born; they're made. Because, dude, you have to put the work in this sport to keep up. Period.
You gotta freaking love it.
Yes, passion, to no end.
Yeah.
Well,
you gotta love it like the Riz loves it.
Yeah,
he does.
I'm trying to love it more and more every day.
Well,
doing all right with it.
Speaking of hard work, we're going to take a quick break.
Yes,
and we're going to come back with a guy who has worked really, really hard and has found himself in the winner's circle. Bryan New, the winner of the first Bassmaster Open down on the Kissimmee Chain of lakes. So we're going to be talking to him, guys. Get your questions together. If you want to ask him a question, go over and subscribe to BassU.tv. Get yourself, it's 30 days free right now. And
BU Live 30.
Yeah,
Live 30.
I just got a text message from him. He said, LOL, I actually found that grass place on plane and turned around.
Wow.
So
we're going to ask him about that.
We're going to talk
We're
about
going to talk about that.
Interesting.
As well as other stuff.
Don't want to miss that, guys. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back with more Bass University Live. That's cool. You found that.
All righty. Everybody's heard the run and gun patterns, and people associate it with junk fishing. I mean, you hear somebody say, "Oh, I'm running and gunning, just junk fishing, what looks good." But if you break it down, running and gunning isn't really junk fishing. Just instead of fishing one pattern, you're fishing 6 or 7 patterns in the same day at the same time. And to me, that defines a run and gun pattern. I mean, I might run and fish one certain target and run and fish 10 other different types of targets anywhere from the bank to offshore, but I'm going to kind of break down to you what I do when I'm in that situation where I can run and gun, because that's where I feel most comfortable, because you're not married to one technique where if something's not working, you've got 5 or 6 other things you're doing also. And if you can make them all kind of work together, you can usually put together a winning day off of that just by being able to run all those different things. But I know the first thing is obviously being prepared with your tackle. And I know I talked about this in the other seminar, the what-if baits. I mean, if I'm, say, a typical run and gun situation would be my win at Lake Norman back in September with the FLW Invitational. These are the main 3 baits I was using. That's a Demiki 1/2 ounce mama jig on the right, the Demiki anchovy shad in the middle, and then I've got a buzz bait with a Zoom horny toad threaded up on it. That was my 3 main baits I was using that week. I also mixed in a little bit of cranking, but over the course of the 3-day tournament, 90% of the fish were weighed in on those 3 baits. And what doing that does is, when you think about run and gun, especially, I learned this technique on a little small lake near my house, Moss Lake. It's a 2,500 acre lake. I don't know if y'all fish a lot of tournaments around here on smaller lakes like that, but what how I learned to run and gun during a tournament was by fishing tournaments on that small lake, because if you put 40 or 50 boats on a couple 100-acre lake or 1,500-acre lake, it gets beat up quickly. So the first thing I'm going to do in a tournament on a small lake like that, or even if I'm running the run and gun pattern on a big lake, is I'm going to hit the prime targets as fast as I can first thing in the morning. I'm going to try to beat everybody else to that. So say you're fishing your local lake and there's one certain point that always has a bite on it, or one certain rock pile or one certain dock. I'm going to run all that as fast as I can right at blast off and try to hit it before everybody else does, because you're going to catch the most aggressive fish that's been up there, maybe pulled up during the night, nobody's pestered it yet, it's still hadn't seen a lure that day. So as many of those high percentage places as you can run first thing in the morning, that's what you want to do. Even if it's running 2 or 3 miles to make one cast, and then running 4 or 5 miles to make 2 or 3 more casts, that's the biggest thing you want to do, is cover that productive water as early as you can and as fast as you can. But what I was doing in Norman was I was starting out with the buzz bait early in the morning. I'd start on the high percentage places. There were a couple of rocky points, just things that are obvious that somebody's going to ride by and be like, oh man, that looks beautiful, I need to go fish that. And that's the type of stuff I'm running right at daylight, first thing in the morning. I'm going to run 6 or 7 places like that, and then I may hit a few docks with the jig. If I'm in an area, I've got an offshore spot, I'll pull out there, throw the anchovy shad across it, and just keep bouncing back and forth between the different techniques you're using during your run and gun pattern. But you've got to use it you've got to be able to listen to what the fish are telling you when you're doing this type of pattern also. Say you start out in the morning and you run a couple of rocky points or riprap banks or something with the buzzbait, and you get bit pretty quickly. Start running everything you know in that area that's similar with the same bait. So say, for instance, I started out at Lake Norman. I pulled up on a dredged out dock and caught one of it under it on a buzzbait. I'm going to run every dredged dock I know within probably a 2-mile area and throw that buzzbait as fast as I can until I kind of feel it's going away or I'll get near something else I want to fish.
Hey everybody, welcome back. Bass University Live. I was listening to Brian Thrift on the break there. He has some really amazing seminars over at Bass U TV. That being one of them, how to practice for tournaments. His strategies they fly in the face of conventional thinking a lot, and we're really proud to have him. We have him twice this year at Bass University. As a matter of fact, you can see him in South Carolina this upcoming weekend. Guys, you watching us over on Facebook? Like it, share it. What do they win, BTC?
We've got a $70 value pack of leading lures, mostly tungstens, a little bit of soft plastics.
$70.
Yeah, a whole box of tungsten flipping weights and some drop shot weights. And
great weights too. The cool thing about leading lures is he stamps the weight on the weight. So 1/8,
cool.
3
That's nice.
half ounce.
That's really, really nice, because I got no clue when they're all in the box and they start jumping into the other box.
Can you see the stamps anyway?
That's maybe.
Yeah,
Depends if I have something with me or not. Telescope.
It's funny because when I won Cayuga, and I'm telling this story because it gives me another chance to brag that I won on Cayuga. But I
never stop bragging.
Sully was staying with me. We rented a house, and he asked me, "What weight are you flipping?" And I said, "I'm flipping a half ounce." And he walked right over to my weight, and he goes, "That's a 3/4, dude."
And he said it just like that.
Just like that. That's how he talks. Dude. But he was right. He was right. I thought I was flipping a half ounce, and I was actually flipping a 3/4.
Did. How do you say it, Mike?
Yo, guy.
Yo, guy.
That's a 3/4 guy.
Did. Yo, did.
Well, we're real excited that we're going to be talking to the first winner of the year.
Yeah, man, that's big. Man.
What a way to get started. Just come out of the gate with a dub and punch your ticket to the Classic.
Big time.
Is he going to this year's Classic or next year's?
Next year's.
Next year's Classic.
Yep, 21.
So he can
Well, he still has to fish the rest of the
Yes.
events.
This is true.
Yeah,
Right.
hey, come on.
Of course, he'll fish them, but I'm
Right.
just saying he still has to fish.
Yeah,
Yeah.
get it together, Pete.
Well, we'll find out how aggressively. I wonder. Let's ask him that question. Going to aggressively pursue it, or are you just going to show up on Derby Day and chill?
I think he might have done a Bassmaster article today on it.
Oh, yeah.
About a new focus.
Yeah, I read it.
Did you read it?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, I was just breezing through it.
Yep.
Okay.
It's pretty good.
Yeah, well, there's more on the line too. I mean, if he does well in the next few opens, he'll qualify for the elites, which is, I'm sure, something's on his mind.
Yeah, he actually.
Yeah.
I don't know how much you guys read, but I'll let him tell you. But he kind of from what I read today, he kind of changed his path this year and what he's doing as a whole. So I'm sure he'll talk about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The winning has a tendency to do that.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, I can tell you're going to the Classic this year.
Yep.
Mike's going to Classic this year.
I'll be there.
We're gonna have Mike down in the Bass University in the Ike Live booth. I want to invite you guys to come down and visit with us. I don't have our booth number. It's got a bunch of twos in it. I remember that, but we'll have that
2782.
We're a bunch of twos.
Yeah, we're kind of stuck in the middle, man. We're near Pure
2223.
Fishing. We're near TH Marine.
2223
2223
is the number.
Well done, Zog. Thank you.
It's quick.
I know Phoenix Boats is nearby. Bass Cat Boats is
TH
nearby.
Marine.
TH.
On
Next
a
to
dang
Missile.
Wednesday.
Missile's next to us.
That's right.
Wow. It's a party.
I think we've delayed long enough.
Well,
There's popcorn somewhere nearby.
Chambermaids.
without any further delay, I didn't see him up there, Brian. So I don't know how long he's been sitting
Pete
up there
doesn't pay
waiting,
attention.
waiting on the Skype. Most of the time, Brian's got the screen blocked out and I can't see. So we can see it this time. But without any further ado, man, we have the 2020 Bassmaster Open champ, Bryan New.
Yeah, buddy.
Yeah.
How are you doing today, Brian?
Oh, man, I am good. How are y'all?
Man, we're doing great. We're excited that you were able to take some time and talk to us. It's got to be, an amazing ride. Starting out of the gate, man, getting the first big W, going to the Classic. How are you feeling right now?
Dude, I'm on cloud nine, man. I've been fishing better for the last, year than I have ever even dreamed of. I mean, just everything that's happened over the last year, and it's just awesome, man. And I'm going to the Classic.
Yeah, that's amazing. Brian, it's Ike. How you doing tonight?
What's up, buddy?
Hey, listen, I want to stop you real quick, and it seems so sudden, right? It seems sudden to you. It seems sudden maybe to other people, but you've been working at this a long time. You've been working hard at this a long time, and you spent a lot of years working your way up the ladder. I want people watching and listening to know that too. You put your time in, man. We've all been watching you, the last 3 or 4 years and what you've been doing, starting from the back of the boat, working your way up. This is something you've worked for.
I really have, man. I've been very fortunate for the people that's been placed in my life to be, have some of the opportunities that I have. But, on top of that, I've worked my butt off. And to me, it was all about, not forcing it. I work as hard, if not, as hard as I can possibly work at it. And, from practicing to, learning my graphs, learning this bait. Why is this bait good at this? And why is this rod good for that bait? And, it's just, I've had several opportunities to step up, and I didn't, really take it because it's such a risk, a financial risk,
Yeah.
Right now seems like the time to go ahead and, if it works out, take it.
Yeah. Yeah, I believe in signs. I think that's a good sign right there.
I made enough money fishing a few times to do it and not have to, go risk money that I had to, go manually work an hourly wage for, so to speak. And, I decided not to just use, and just use that money as padding and savings. And, And I always told myself, if I ever do it again, if I ever make enough money fishing again, that I'm going to do it. And, starting off last year in April, I won the Race Dot Championship, and that was like over $100,000. So I was all excited, and I decided I was going to fish the FLW Tour. I qualified, and then, a lot of things changed. And I sat back and said, I'm going to sit back and watch for a year and see what happens. And I'm going to go fish some opens, have some more options, hopefully, and just see where things go. And here we are, man.
Yeah, I think you made a good decision. I want to jump right into it, Pete, with talking a little bit about some of the nuts and bolts of it.
Mm-hmm.
And the first thing that I want to talk about, I've been dying to bring this up, is you essentially junk fished this one. And what I love about this is I've seen tournaments won junk fishing a lot in my life, but in Florida, very rarely are tournaments won in Florida junk fishing. I'm serious. You know what I mean? Like, think about it. Look back. Most of the tournaments in Florida, you hole set, or you have the big rod from start to finish, right? When I looked at the stats of how you caught them and how you ran all over the place like a crazy person, it's like you were running around like Swindle, like a nutball, fishing different lakes, locking from a top water to a crankbait to a Texas rig to all, I mean, the gamut. That's amazing to me. I want you to talk about that. You junk fished this one.
Yeah, so, man, like, I had a really tough practice at first, and then the last 2 days of practice, I started getting some bites. And, I was flipping pads. So, I mean, there's no secret that that's a big deal, down on the Kissimmee Chain and Kissimmee especially.
Yeah.
I knew the potential of that. So, I finally got some confidence. I got something. I got a plan. This is what I'm going to do. And I draw out boat number 204 the first day.
Nice.
To the lock, I mean, it only holds 12 boats. It's like a 20-minute turnaround. I knew I had to start on something in Toho.
Yeah.
To more or less kill some time and hopefully catch a bonus fish to get started. Well, back up a little bit. Early in my practice, I'm riding around on plain slow like you guys were just talking about, looking for grass. And sure enough, I go over a little strip, and I turn around. I turn my side imaging on. I said, this looks pretty good. And I just start fishing right there. And I pick up that crankbait, that greenfish square bill, and I catch like a 4-pounder. Well, I said, hey, that's pretty cool. It's like the first cast with that bait. And so like 30 minutes later, I haven't had another bite. So I hit a waypoint just for the heck of it and keep on trucking, don't think much about it. Well, come first morning, I don't have anywhere to go on Toho to wait. So I said, heck, I'll just pull over here and hopefully, there was one good one there. Hopefully there'll be some more. And sure enough, about 5 minutes in, I catch a 5.9. I said, this is a pretty good start, And a little while later, I catch a keeper. It wound up being a 1.9. So I fish, another 45 minutes, whatever, and never get another bite. So I said, well, I got a good start. Let's go on and lock through and go start flipping some pads and try to catch a big bag, So I get locked through. I get to Kissimmee. I start flipping pads. I had 3 bites on the stretch the previous day, and I miss one. The next flip, I hook one, it gets wrapped up in the pads and comes off. So 4 hours later, I haven't had another bite. That's when the junk fishing comes in.
Yeah.
So pads is all I had, So I know I've got to do something different. I was getting too many bites in practice doing that to go to nothing. And I knew I wasn't fishing right behind anybody, because I'd been in that area for a while. There wasn't really anybody there. So I said, you know what? My wheels were spinning. What do I do? I wasn't spinning out. I was just trying to figure out what to do. And it was hot. It was slick. It was sunny. It was the perfect conditions for a prop bait in Florida. I knew there was some fish spawning, not a huge wave, but, that prop bait's a big deal down there when that's going on.
Yeah.
So I pull out my prop bait. I get up shallow, and immediately, like the 4th or 5th cast, catch a 4-something. So I was all right, here we go. This is it. I've got it figured out. hour and a half later, I haven't had another bite.
Wow.
So, I start again, what do I do? And so I know this is a good area. I know there's big ones here. It's got hammered with pressure, and we all know what that does to fish. It moves them. I mean, they either don't bite or it moves them. They're not just going to sit there and bite. So I'm thinking, nobody's fished these mats right here. There's been at least 15 boats in this area throughout the day, and nobody's fished the mats, at least to my knowledge. So I reach in the rod box, I pull out my big weight, and I go to flip them. And 5-10 minutes in, I catch another 1.9. So that gave me 4. 20 yards later, I catch another 4 something. I said, hey, that's 2 bites really quick. 1 good bite. I got something figured out finally. I keep rolling, and then I catch another little one that didn't help me. And I just keep on, and I never get another bite. Well, I had a time, I wanted to be back at the lock at 4:15 at the latest. And so I get up there, I lock through, I'm back on Coho. The only thing I've got is that offshore place. So I slide over there, I catch another 4.5 real quick. I catch a couple high ones, and then I catch a 2.3 and a 2.5, and the 2.5 wound up being my smallest for the day. And that day, that offshore bite was all about that square bill crankbait. And, I mean, they were chomping it. So come to day 2, I've got this offshore place that I have to start on. So I go there, and it was lights out until 9 o'clock. Me and my co-angler both were, it was every cast. And that day, so I caught 2 decent ones first thing on the crankbait, and then it went away. And I had to start throwing a worm. I was throwing an old monster worm on a Texas rig, and then I was throwing in a June bug. So I like that. I like the dark color, in low light or dirty water. And the water was clean, but it was low light. So once the sun got up a little bit, I went to a Demiki Stinger. It's just a stick bait, and I threw it on a Texas rig in a watermelon candy color because the sun was up, and so I wanted a more natural color. Plus, I wanted a more subtle bait, and so that deal runs out about 9:15. I know I've got the cut made, so it's not worth taking the risk to run, 35 miles, including a lock, to go somewhere that you're going to have to junk fish anyways when you don't have a home you can go to. So I just go junk fish on Toho, and I went through that prop bait up there, and I caught several fish and wound up culling up about a half a pound, and that was it for the day. And then the last day, pretty much the same story, but I had to switch baits yet again on that offshore deal. I caught a couple on a worm, I caught 1 or 2 on a jerk bait, and that was pretty much it. Then I switched to a chatterbait whenever I went to Kissimmee that day because the wind was blowing so hard. The changing conditions is basically, what made me change baits and presentations every day.
Bryan, you're sitting there, you're in good shape. Were you leading the tournament after day 2?
No, I was, after day 2, I actually fell to 3rd because I only had 13.5 the second day.
Right, which is still a strong bag there. Now, you've already won $100,000, so you've been in a big derby. You've felt this pressure before. Were you under a lot of pressure, man? Were you excited? Were you nervous? Where was your head at going into day 3?
Yeah, I got rid of the pressure several years ago. I used when I was doing as a co-angler, I won some really big events doing that, and there was some pressure back then, but I've come to realize that the pressure doesn't do anything but hurt you. You're just going fishing. I'm working my tail off. I'm going to do everything I can do. Whatever happens, happens. So, of course I want to win and I want to do good, but pressure's not going to do anything but hurt you. So I just put that in, on the back burner and don't let it get to me. I've won a couple big events last year, and things just fell into place. And I've had several people ask me, where this tournament ranks. I won more money in events than this, before, but I've never won anything to this magnitude. I never had as stiff a competition as I had as in this tournament, and pretty cool deal, man. Plus, I'm going to the Classic.
Awesome.
Yeah, that is fairly awesome. That's pretty
awesome.
pretty awesome.
Fairly awesome.
Yeah, so I mean, it's huge winning a Bassmaster tournament, and like you're out there on day 3, you got 15 pounds. It was a tough day all around. Everybody struggled, but did you know you had it won? Did you feel that way, or were you feeling like, man, we saw 20-pound bags come in. I don't think I have enough.
No, I definitely didn't think I had enough. I was 3 pounds back, give or take an ounce or two, going into the final day. There was a few times I was thinking I've definitely got a shot, but I never thought that I had it. I mean, it is Florida, and I've kept up. I watch all the tournaments, and I've fished a bunch of tournaments in Florida, and to my knowledge, there's never been a true giant bag weighed in Florida when the wind blows like that. I mean, it blew 15 to 25 all, and I'm sure there has been, but it's rare that happens. So I knew that it wasn't going to happen. I mean, it just makes everything harder. It makes you have to slow down. You can't really run around and get to where you're going as fast. It takes a lot more time going somewhere. It makes the fishing harder, whether it be offshore. And then the pad deal. I mean, it's a whole different ball game with that. I mean, you got to get the boat positioned right. Then you've got to get the right cast to get your line to lay in between the pads right. Then you've got to get the right presentation. And then on top of all that, I truly believe, though, that when that wind is blowing around, in pads and reeds especially to me, when that wind's blowing them around, and, it's going all the way down to the roots, I don't believe that those big fish are going to sit there and lay against those pads when they're rocking back and forth, constantly. So, self is a big factor there.
Yeah.
It's amazing how temperamental, and you guys watching at home that have never fished in Florida, it is such a temperamental fishery. The Florida strain in general can be temperamental, but wind, it silts up the water. Like you said, that's an interesting observation.
Wind's a killer.
It is. I know if the wind's blowing on your bank, it's a killer. But the way you described it's interesting that any wind can be harmful.
Yeah. I do want to ask you, I actually have 2 questions, and I want to get real technical now. Talk about the pad bite, because I heard you talking about it, and it sounded like a lot of the pad bites I get were the same thing. It's like you could throw in there and visualize that pad, and if the cast is wrong, you don't get the bite. But if you get it to drape a certain way, it seems like you get a bite. Talk about that, because you were getting into it there. Tell me about that cast. How were you doing it? What was key especially in practice, when you were catching all those fish?
Right. So in practice, the first couple of days of practice, we had a lot of wind, but then it calmed down, and it was easy to get around, and it was easy to fish. But so you got these big pad fields, and even the smaller groups of pads are always better for several reasons. They're a little bit more isolated. They're easier to pick apart. The fish doesn't have nearly as much to hide from, and you can kind of pick apart where you think they would be in that little smaller group of pads easier, whether it be a bigger hole in the pads, or a point, or like a little swag in it or something. So, and what I've noticed, and I know the local hammers down in Florida know this, and somebody's probably going to call and cuss me out for telling this, but it'll be all right. So we give all the juice. But so everybody knows that stealth, and if you don't, stealth is huge. You want to be as quiet, and you want to stay as far away from these fish as you can, not to spook them. Because that 225 boats is a lot of pressure on a lake. That's 5 lakes there to fish, but everybody's going to. There's going to be a lot of boats go through here throughout the week. Well, those fish are not stupid. As much as we may want them to be, sometimes they're not. So the farthest away you can stay from those pads and cast to them instead of getting up close and flipping, the lot better chance you've got of actually getting that fish to bite. Once you get it to bite, then you worry about catching it. But you got to get it to bite first.
Yeah.
That being said, so instead of flipping at this one pad, what I like to do is I figure out, okay, I look at it, and you got these pads going, this way and that one laying that way. I try to make a cast to the other side of them, and at the same time, I try to get my line to zigzag in between all of them, so my line is directly to my bait, and it's not, when I set the hook, I don't have a pad in the way. I've got a direct hit, but at the same time, as I'm pulling that bait along, it's not pulling it up and over a pad and out of the water. It's staying bottom contact.
Yeah.
I mean, even when it's slick, but you add in 25-mile-an-hour wind, and it's a whole different ball game.
Yeah.
I mean, from like, say, 10 casts in, 10 minutes to 10 casts in 25 minutes.
Yeah.
That eats up a lot of time in a hurry.
Yeah. Now, were you using, Brian, straight tail worm, Texas style?
Yeah.
Were you using a stick bait? And then what was your line as well? Was it braid or straight flora?
Straight P-line, 20-pound P-line tactical fluorocarbon on a 7-foot 3-inch heavy action Fitzgerald's HD Stunner HD rod, and then a 7-to-1 Revo reel, a 1/4 ounce weight and pegged with a 5-inch Damiki Stinger in the Green Pumpkin Magic, and it's just a stick bait style bait.
Yeah, lightweight, 1/4 ounce lightweight.
Yeah. Well, if you close your eyes, I think I'm getting a seminar from Brian Thrift.
He does sound like him.
I mean, I don't secret that we've spent a lot of time in the boat together, and I mean, hey, that's what better teacher can you have? And let me tell you, I'm not sponsored by Damiki, but that son of a gun catches their butt. It does. I mean, everybody's got a stick bait, and they're all great. I mean, I use the original Cinco a lot, and I use some of the other brands a lot. But that Stinger, there's something about it, man. It freaking catches them.
Yep, interesting.
Nice. Well, just for guys watching at home, we were talking pretty advanced stuff about lily pad fishing, and I just want to, give a shout out to JT Kenny, and I want you guys to go check it out over at bassu.tv. Does an amazing seminar for us about exactly what Brian's talking about, how to approach lily pad fishing, how to catch them, how to catch the big ones, how to deal with that type of stuff. So I want to, invite you guys to go check that out. But you said something, Brian, and I want to just ask you a little bit about this. I fished on Kissimmee Chain. I know you have too, Mike. I fished 100-boat tournaments there. That's freaking crowded. You can't find a place to fish. There's boats crawling all over. And you were, with 225 boats, I can't imagine that you were fishing some of these places, two places you said you were fishing by yourself.
Really it was just that one offshore place. Other than that, I had a couple areas down south on Kissimmee, and there were boats around, but like I did that first stretch of pads that I fished that first day. I never seen anybody fishing the exact same pads, but there were people in the area. They were either fishing shallower or deeper, and I was kind of 3 to 4 foot range where I was.
Well, you spent a lot of time. Let's talk about it. Brian's one of our guys. We love him. He's one of the greatest anglers in the history of the world. You fished with Brian since like 2012?
Since you were an infant.
All right. Yeah. Some really good friends, and we fished some team tournaments together, and we just go fun fishing together. And I've been very fortunate to have him that teach me a lot of the stuff that he has, and we work together a lot. I mean, we help each other. I have to say that he's helped me a lot more than I've helped him, but we do, and we bounce ideas off each other's heads. We're all the time, piddling with tackle, and we call each other, hey, check this little deal out. This looks pretty good. What you think? And I don't know. We just make a good team, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
Dude, now, mentor is key. I had a mentor that taught me a lot getting started. What have you identified what, like, Brian's won so much? Like, what does he do differently than everybody else?
Makes better decisions. No, I don't know. I mean, there's so many people that work extremely hard, and then there's some guys that don't work as hard that still have success. And Brian, he works as hard as you can possibly work, and I don't know. I mean, when it comes down to it, it's all about that decision making. I don't care how good you can cast. I don't care how good you can read a graph, how good you can drive a boat. It comes down to making the right decisions. And, he's made the right ones.
He's made a lot of good ones.
Yeah.
I can tell you that. Pete, I do want to get back to this tournament because I did have a second question. I don't mean to mess you up, Pete. I wanted to get back to that hydrola spot. Like, that to me blows me away, the story, because I've driven over 1 million places like that and caught one and marked it and came back and never caught him in 20 years of doing it.
What made that one special? What made you stop in the first place?
That's what I want to know. Like, describe that spot, because Toho, the last time I was out there, which was like last year at ICAST, I fished some bullshit tournament there. It didn't mean anything. It was like this international tournament. I got out there and I was lost. There was so much hydrilla. Like, the further I got toward the lock, especially, it was like there was just freaking acres of it was like football fields of hydrilla.
One bank to the other.
Yeah, and it like when I was reading and watching you with this, I'm like, man, that's a special hydrilla spot. Talk to us more about it, because how did it set up? Was there something that made it special?
So you talk about, how did I find it and this and that. So, yeah, like you said, it down near the lock, it was choked out. I mean, there was a lot of it topped out, but other than that, it was just a blanket of hydrilla.
Yeah.
I mean, for forever. So, you've got to find that stuff that's a little bit different, whether it be a hole or clumps or a point or a swag. And so what I do when I go to a grass lake is I try to get away from I shouldn't say all of the grass, but the big majority of it. Yeah. And then I do the, whatever you call it, power graphing or whatever you like earlier. I try to do that, and I ride around on plane real slow, and whenever I see something, I'll stop. And I'll start idling, and most of the time I say, oh, yeah, that sucks. And I'll get back on plane and I'll take off. But this particular place, man, it was just like, I think it had a halo around it or something. But so I just stopped, and immediately I was, man, this is the juice. I mean, it was on a point. The on farther back where it got thicker, it wasn't just a complete blanket. And there was several holes about the size of the boat or so. And it was just some good clumps. It was about 6.5 foot to the bottom. The grass come up, probably 4 foot, from the surface, and it worked out perfect. So when I sat the boat down there, I picked my trap up, and I was throwing it out there, and you couldn't really get your trap through it that good. So I was looking at it, and I said, man, this looks better for a square bill. So I reached down, I grabbed that greenfish square bill, and I start cranking it. And dude, the first cast I made with it, I caught that big one.
Wow.
Calling it a big one. It was a 4-pounder. In practice, said, hey, I've got it figured out. I might have something here. 30 minutes later, I haven't had a bite.
Yeah.
But I went back in the tournament, and I was spending a little bit more time there. Then I was seeing fish. I was seeing lots of fish. It was unbelievable. And what was funny was 100 yards, 150 yards farther out from me, there was 3 or 4 boats there the whole time. And in 3 days, well, the last day I never seen a boat out there, but the first 2 days, every minute that I was on that spot, I don't know what it totaled to be, but I was there a long time throughout those 2 days. And I think I seen 3 bass caught out there where the other boats were. I had 2 places, and I'm talking about 2. It wasn't exactly a one caster, but it's probably, I don't know, the size of 2 or 3 boats together. There was 2 places like that. One was better than the other, but there were 2. And I'm sitting there the whole time, and I was like, God, right? You know, I could see out there a little bit farther that way. So I'd turn and I'd throw over there and I'd catch one. And it was incredible, man. I can't tell you why exactly that exact spot was so good, because there was a lot of the other stuff in that real close by that looked the same.
Yeah.
It come down to the why didn't matter. They were there, and I found them, and that's what mattered. I would like to know, though. I'm with you. I would like to know why it was that much better.
Yeah, I wonder if there was. I know a lot of those lakes when it has some hard bottom or shell in there, it's always seems like it makes it more okay. Bryan, you said you saw those fish. Were you using electronics to beam out in front of the boat, or what kind of electronics were you using?
I really didn't want to talk about this, but it was the Humminbird 360.
360, yep. Yeah.
Yeah.
Shout out to Humminbird.
Yeah, shout out to Humminbird, definitely. Yeah, that technology, man, we hear more and more about it, you know. We hear about the 360, we hear about the new Garmin technology, we hear about the new Lowrance technology, about that looking in front of the boat while you're fishing becoming a lot more important.
Yeah, let's talk about that a little bit. Was that 360, was it helping you be able to hit the targets better with your square bill?
Yeah, it really was. I mean, there was some little lanes and stuff that I was targeting, and you could see the lane, and there'd be 3 or 4 fish sitting in it, and throw over there and wind that crankbait down, and they'd lock up and catch up for. Then you throw over there a couple times, and the other 1 or 2, then it'd stop, and then you pick up the worm. I mean, it definitely helped. I mean, I think everybody's you know, all the electronics are so far advanced now. I spent a lot of time in the boat with friends that had the Panoptics, and then also the new live deal from Lowrance, and that's I think you can see fish better with those. But I know 360. I've been using it a long time, and I understand it. I think if I understood the other stuff as much as I do the 360, I would probably fall in love with it as well. But it's what works for me. It's what I know, and it's working.
Yeah.
What's a bass look like in a lane of grass on a 360?
I don't know how to explain. I mean, it's just a white dot.
Yeah, dot.
Looks just like it would on side imaging.
Pete, it looks a little like remember back the original Woodstock concert?
Yes.
When you guys were doing all those white drugs, that looks like that, but it's a dot.
I got you.
Yeah.
Not
the brown dot. Don't eat the brown dot.
Stay away from the brown acid.
No brown dot. Pete, I want to remind everybody, if you have a question for Bryan, if you have a question about his tournament performance, anything he's doing, hit us up, right? We're taking IMs. Rich, what do you got for us?
We do. We have a lot of great interaction on the message board. And one of our viewers would like to know, talk a little bit about your transition from the co-angler fishing into the boater division fishing, and
that's a good question.
some key things that you took away from being a co-angler and how you may now apply them as a boater.
Well, yeah. So in my co-angler days, I always there's several reasons to fish as a co-angler, whether it be learn or just go have fun with you and get the experience. Being in the boat with some of the top guys in the world, or whatever you want. But I did it for several reasons, and the number one reason, honestly, was to try to make a living. I know that sounds extremely crazy, but it worked for me, and I did. And I was very blessed that it worked out that way. But at the same time, I learned a lot. I learned from the guys I was with. and I also taught myself a lot. And the biggest way I taught myself a lot was trying to respect the man in the front of the boat, understanding that he had way more on the line, and this was his ball game. I was just there for the show and trying to do my thing. So by respecting him, you know, I would always try to fish for a different fish that he's fishing for. And a lot of times, heck, I'm throwing out in the middle of a pocket that you would never do, and you would never think that there's a fish out there. And I would catch fish, and I learned that, you know, those fish are never getting fished for. If they are, it's very, very rare. And I learned that, and I apply that a lot. One of the other things that really helped me, I would say probably the biggest help that has helped me that I've carried over to the front of the boat is not getting so dialed into what you were doing yesterday or what you were doing an hour ago. Because when you're a co-angler, you have zero say-so. You don't know where you're going next. You don't know what you're doing next. You got to look at that moment. Screw an hour ago. You got to fish that moment.
Fish the moment seminar?
Yeah.
Same thing I did the first day of the tournament. I tried to make that pad deal run, and I said, this thing's not working. What do we got to do? This moment has passed. Let's go to the next one. And it worked. And, you know, I've done that several times, you know, not just this tournament. And, you know, I think that right there's kind of goes back to your question, what makes Thrift so good? And I think he's, you know, one of the best there is at doing that, fishing the moment.
Yeah.
And, you know, not relying on the past.
Yeah, I'd agree. He does that really well, and I think you do it well. I think guys that can fish free succeed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you'd recommend that for guys? You should start out as a co-angler. You think that's a good path?
Yeah, I mean, hey, it was for me. Look, as a co-angler, Matt Airy started as a co-angler. Hell, Scott Martin even started as a co-angler. That's right. There's so many ways that, you know, it can help you. And not only all that, you can kind of get a cheap way, so to speak. It's the cost is not nearly as much, and you can kind of get your feet wet and see how all this works. I mean, because, you know, there's a lot of media out there, but there's a lot of stuff that goes down and that everybody, the whole world doesn't see. And, you know, maybe doesn't expect. And I was the same way. I didn't know what to expect the first tournament I fished as a co-angler, you know, on a higher level.
Yeah, it's a good one.
What do you got, Riz?
Our very own Stefan Walden would like to know, how do you determine to change what you're doing? Like what in this tournament was like the decision-making process? What made it click to know that you had to go try and do something else?
Well, there's tournaments that it's like, just say a summertime tournament in the South, where you're fishing for 5 or 6 bites throughout the day. And in a situation like that, and I fish a lot of tournaments like that, that you just got to stick with what you know is your best option of catching 5 decent fish. And but a tournament earlier in the year, if you're not getting bit, you better change, because you're doing something wrong. Either you're in the wrong area or you're doing the wrong thing. And you just got to be able to play the conditions and play the day. And, you know, even you look back at your practice. I mean, try to remember, you know, let's say use the wind, for example. I mean, what did the wind do to this area when it was blowing this direction or that area? And remember that stuff. And say, oh, well, I got bit here, but the wind's going to be blowing there, so this over here is going to be protected. And it looked the same that area over there did, and I got bit over there. So go to the protected area if that's what right. And you know, it's all about educated guesses. That's what it's all about. I mean, you can make 100 wrong decisions, but all you've got to do is make one right one.
That's juicy.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Do you have any of those green fish square bills handy you could show us?
I I do actually. I know my lighting's not the best, but this is a bad dude, and it's kind of hard to get its hands on. And we actually got some to give away. I don't know if you can see it real well, but it's can you see that?
Oh yeah,
we can see
it.
It
Looks like an old Bagley's, bro.
It's that style bait. It's a balsa bait, and the reason I picked that particular bait, and I mean I've got 927 boxes of square bills, and they all have their purpose. But the reason I picked that bait there is it's really good in grass. It floats really high. I can crank it down, and once I hit that grass, you kind of got that feel if it's going to bury up or if it's not. And if I feel like it's going to bury up, I can stop it, and it's going to float up real quick, and then I can get back busy with it. And then you can snap your rod and pop it out of it.
Get
really
back
easy.
busy with it.
Yeah, yeah.
I like that.
That's dope, man. That's a good looking bait.
That's a good looking bait.
Yeah, so we're going to give away some of these square bills. You're going to hook up some of our viewers with some square bills?
So I got the square bill, and I've got the tat. The prop bait.
TAT. And what does TAT stand for, Brian?
Take a guess. Let's see your best guess.
Totally awesome tube bait.
Top
water.
Top water.
Totally awesome top water.
Yeah. Good deal.
It's kind of got that bait. It's got a cool story in itself. So, John Hare, the owner at Greenfish, his mother actually died from breast cancer, and they called her Tat. It was just kind of her nickname. So, that's where it got its name. Plus, a part of the proceeds from every one of these baits that's sold goes to breast cancer awareness.
That's cool. Very
Right on.
nice. Very nice.
Very nice.
That's awesome.
Brian, Michael on the message board would like to know, what is the biggest bass you have ever caught?
That is a cool story, and I've got a cool story, or a good question, and I've got a cool story for you. So,
great.
Till last year, I don't know, probably 8-something. So last year on my birthday, February
Only an
20, I went to Lake Murray in South Carolina. The very first cast I make that day, I'm talking to my boss on the phone, and I said, I got a bite. And I'm reeling in. I said, oh, that's a big one. And then it started digging. I said, it's not a bass, it's a striper or something. And I get it up to the boat, and I said, oh, I'm going to have to call you back. So I sit the rod down, get the fish. I weighed it. It was a 9.3.
Wow.
So, I mean, it's a giant. It's not, a 10-pounder or anything, but it was cool because it was the very first cast of the day on my birthday.
Wow. Heck of a birthday present.
Yeah, that is a great birthday present. And you were talking to your boss. Now, I'm doing some math. You won $100,000. You won $45,000. You still got a boss?
I do. He's a great friend of mine. We're really close, and he's a tournament fisherman as well. He fishes the BFLs and some stuff as a boater, and he's fished some Costas and Opens as a co-angler, and he's a heck of a fisherman himself. And but he gets it. He knows that this has always been my dream, and I've not been dumb about it. I haven't just said, hey, I'm going to go out here and don't care if I go broke doing it or not. When I'm in town, I go to work, and I work my butt off there, and I'm very blessed and very fortunate that I have a job where I can do that.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That is great, and you're going to continue working. It sounds like for a little while. You got a couple tournaments coming up. You going to save your vacation time, just show up for the Derby, or you going to try to make the elites? What's your strategy for the rest of the season?
Oh, well, I'm definitely going to fish everything that I can. I actually just got done looking at my schedule, and originally I was only fishing the Eastern Opens and then some Costas, and then I've got the All-American as well this year. I was going to try to fish some BFLs and some ABAs to try to get back in the All-American again. And but I just looked at my schedule. I'm pretty sure I'm going to be able to fit the Central Opens in as well. Granted that I can get in. I'm going to call and pay my deposits tomorrow, and I sure hope I can. I mean, it's going to be a lot of traveling and a lot more time off of work, but I've already talked to my boss about that as well, and he said that'll be cool. He's just going to work me about 32 hours a day whenever I am here. So
I like it.
I like it too.
Yeah, Brian, I got a few questions for you. This is Greg DiPalma. Number one thing, your tournament stats is probably the best ever in history. You got one tournament and one win. So that's never probably been done. Ask Ken Duke on that one.
Yeah.
Wow.
But besides that, so you live in Belmont, right, North Carolina?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can hear you. So Gaston or Kerr? Which lake? Which better?
I don't know. Oh, I don't know. I haven't fished Kerr since 2012, and that was as a co-angler. And I've only been to Gaston once in my life, and that was in probably 2006. But I don't know. I would probably say Gaston just because I kind of feel like it doesn't get quite as much pressure. It doesn't have quite as many big events as Kerr does.
Yep.
But I think there's both awesome lakes. I remember Gaston. It seemed like it had back then. I think it may have had a little bit of hydrilla or something. But no, they both got big fish, and I'd actually like to go to check out some of those lakes again sometime soon.
Yeah, I figured. One question for you, something I read on Bassmaster. So going into day 3, you said that you weren't thinking about the win. You were just thinking about the Bassmasters Classic. Is that true?
Yeah. So at first, well, back up a little bit. So when you go to a tournament, you want to win. Like, that's the ultimate goal. But in reality, you're being realistic to yourself. You want a good event, a good tournament, a good finish. Not lose any money and put money in your pocket. So I knew I already had a good event. I wasn't going to lose any money. I was going to put some in my pocket. So I got those checked off. And then I started thinking about the win. And then I said, you know what? If I win, I go to the Classic. So then I was like, the hell with the win. Great, but if I win, I go to the Classic. So I really do that. I mean, I've finished second and third and fourth and all of that before, and it was disappointing. But this time it would have been really disappointing because not only the tournament, but I lost the Classic.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I agree. I did have something. I know this is maybe not as Bash University. Maybe this is more of an Ike Live comment and question. But I wanted to bring this up with you because I saw something that I thought was very interesting. I want to get you to talk about it. A lot of guys will show up on stage, especially on the final day. They're in the hunt. They've got a jersey on, a tournament jersey, with 10,000 logos on it. Their hat's logoed up. Even their damn pants are logoed up. They got rhinestones on their pants with companies on there. I noticed you had a Fitzgerald shirt on, which from afar, I look at that and I'm like, here's a guy that gets it, right? Here's a guy that gets it. He's not, if nobody's paying you big money, why wear their logos, right? If that's the case, thank you, because we need more guys like you in the sport. We need guys to stop wearing tournament jerseys for nothing. The sport's never going to grow if that keeps happening. So, am I right or am I wrong? Tell me about that.
2 thumbs up. You're 10,000% correct. I would love to have all these sponsors, but I don't. And Fitzgerald, they make an awesome rod. I have a little deal with them, but I'm not getting paid. Greenfish, they make awesome stuff. I mean, awesome stuff. I love their product. I'm going to continue to use their product, but I'm not getting paid. And that's the name of the game. You know it as well as anybody, and I'm not working for free.
Yeah.
Right.
It's awesome.
If that's your thing, that's your thing, but that's not my thing.
No.
And I don't mean any offense to anyone through that, but that's my beliefs, and that's what I'm going to do.
Well, that's awesome. That's awesome. I think that's the way to do it, man. I'll take all the pressure. I'll have people mad at me, and I don't care. I think that's a big problem in our sport. I think it's a big problem.
A lot of fugazi.
I think that there's no standards in our sport. I think guys that, rep companies on their boat, truck, jersey for nothing they're devaluing their true value. They're doing a disservice for a true professional angler. So my hat's off to you for doing that, man.
Yeah, and that's kind of, and I'm not going to lie, I was kind of that guy at one point. And that kind of goes back to what I was talking about a little bit earlier, is, fishing as a co-angler, you kind of get in and you see how everything works. And I seen that. And I seen the frustration with the true professionals with that. And if you think about it and you look into it at all, it's plain as day. And I want to be a true professional one day. Granted, I've been able to make a living for a couple years fishing, but I don't consider myself a true professional.
Amen.
It's not one sole source of income, and I'm just a normal old guy trying to make it.
I like it. I like your perspective. I agree with you, Mike. I even get pissed off when you go and buy a car and the car dealer wants to put their name all over your car.
Oh yeah, they do. They put it on the license plate tag.
Get that shit out of here. I'm paying you for this car. You don't get to advertise on it.
Oh yeah.
So I'm with you guys.
Has anybody reached out to you? I mean, have you fielded any calls from Professional Edge Fishing or any other reps to sponsor you?
Yeah, I've had some guys reach out, and I've had some conversations with some people that I've already been dealing with, and things are on the up and up. Things are looking good. I've got a lot to learn in a lot of different ways, just different things that I've got to learn how to do. And I'm going to work my hardest at every aspect of this business. It's a lot more than just fishing. I feel like I've got the fishing part, so I've got to get the business part. And, I know I can do both sides. I've just got to learn the other.
Yeah. Well, you're in a great spot. I mean, you are in the best possible spot there is for somebody that's just getting started in this business. You've got a ticket to the Classic in your back pocket, and you've got 12 months to develop the business relationships and develop all that stuff to get yourself in hopefully a really good position, for the Classic and for 2021 moving forward. So that's got to be an amazing feeling.
It really is, man. It's a lot of work, and it's hard taking off the time at work to do the fishing, but the business side as well, it's so hard for me to try to learn how to do it, and two, it takes a lot of time in itself, and I've just got to figure out how to manage the time with that and fishing and work and family. And all of those things are very important. Family being number one. And I'm here to learn, man. I'm ready to dive in head deep.
Well, what kind of work do you do now? You hustling hard, swinging hammers, or what kind of work you doing?
It's not always hard, but it's a lot of hours, a lot of heat during the summer. But so we paint roads and parking lots. Pavement marking is Sotheby Pavement Marking is the name of the company, and we do pretty much anything that has to do with the control of traffic, and other stuff as well. But that's our main thing.
Right on.
Yeah.
And your boss is a bass fisherman.
Yeah,
it's great.
Boss to have.
Seriously.
Yeah.
That's a great boss to have.
If Rich's boss was a bass fisherman, he'd be onto his shit.
There we go again.
Hey, do you have social media? Have you gone to that level? Can people follow you throughout the rest of this year?
Yeah, absolutely. It's Bryan New Fishing on Facebook, as well as Instagram. It's Bryan New Fishing as well, and I'm trying to I've got this idea to get into the whole YouTube thing. I know I'm way behind. I don't really know what I'm doing yet, but I know a lot of people that do, and they're going to help me out, and we're going to get this stuff going, and we're going to start putting out some content and doing everything we can, to to cut up, have a good time, and also be able to bring and show some knowledge and try to help other people catch more fish as well.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome.
First thing you got to do is, get Bryan and Matt. They got to get you on their podcast live in studio.
Got that scheduled for next week as well.
All right.
That's always a good time. And me and Matt, we go way back as well. I mean, I actually met Matt, I don't remember what year it was. I think it was the year I graduated high school, so 2008. And I actually drew out with him in a BFL. I was his co-angler at High Rock Lake. And he fished the FLW Tour event at Fort Loudon Tellico that week. He didn't make the cut, drove from Loudon Tellico straight to High Rock and fished the BFL. He just met me this morning, and he's wore slap out, don't want to drive home. I said, you live in Shelby, you've got to go through Belmont, so I'll drive you home. I'll drive you to Belmont. And because I had rode with a friend of mine to High Rock, so I was going to have to get a ride back to Belmont, and it just worked out. And then we kind of hit it off. We started fishing together some and deer hunting, and we go way back. Matt's good people, man.
Yep,
that's awesome.
Yeah, that's good stuff. Have they announced the Classic for 21?
Not yet.
Not yet.
I have a good feeling it might be the Delaware River out of Philadelphia.
Chesapeake Bay.
You can catch yourself 3.5 pounds a day. You'll have a good shot to win. You know what I mean? Well, I'll tell you, Bryan, thanks for joining us on the show, dude. Congrats on a great finish. I think you got more big things coming your way, man, and you got a whole season ahead of you.
Mm-hmm.
Sky's the limit, bro. Go win another one.
I was trying to win them all.
There you go. Clean sweep.
That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to work as hard as I possibly can and see how many good positions I can put myself into, and wherever it lays is where it lays, and that's going to be it.
I like it.
So, Bryan, you have a package from Greenfish. You said you had some stuff to.
Yeah. So I don't have it completely together yet, but we're going to give a tat prop bait away.
Okay.
We're going to give squared crankbait away, the two baits, my two main players from Toho, and we're going to throw in a couple jigs, maybe a spinner bait or two, and we'll send it out this week.
Yeah. All right, so
we have a question for that. It's going to be our contest.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so this is going to be this Ken Duke trivia question right here. Guys on Facebook and YouTube, you should be over at the bassu.tv/live. Hurry up. And here is the question. How many former Bassmaster Classic champions are in the field for the 2020 Classic?
Ooh.
How many?
How many former?
How many former champions? And you're not allowed to answer this, Michael.
Okay.
You can think it.
How many former Classic champs are in this year's Classic?
That is correct.
Okay. That's a good question.
That was a good one.
Well, it's got to be a low number, right? Because the field has
Talking
been
about
turned
the mass
over.
defect?
Yeah. Right? We've got a lot of new guys in the Classic this year, so I'm going to guess it's in the single digits.
Think?
I'm going to guess, just without giving it too much thought. That's good. That's a good, solid guess, I think. But they did recruit some Classic winners to come back and fish the Elite.
This is for a Greenfish square bill, a tat prop bait, some jigs, spinner bait.
It's a nice prize package.
That's right.
Ding.
Whoa.
Bing, bing, bing. We have a winner.
What happened?
We have a winner.
Jacob Wheeler just catch a fish?
Ding. Lee C. Lee C. came in at 8:59 and 41 seconds with the answer of 0.
0!
There are 0 former Bassmaster Classic champions in the field for the 2020 Classic.
What?
Congratulations, Lee C. You just won
Elizabeth.
the green fish tackle.
Elizabeth, I got the big one coming.
I thought Jay Yellis would have been in. He must have
He
missed
didn't
it.
make it. No.
He didn't make it this year. Fritz must not have made it this year.
He didn't make it. No.
Huh. It's crazy.
Wow.
Man, what
stumped us all.
Hey, great question.
Great question,
Mr.
Ken
Duke.
Well, we'll have a new winner this year.
Yeah. Hey, thanks so much for those baits, Brian. I mean, that is an awesome
Yeah,
prize.
that's an awesome prize package.
Who won that?
Lee
C.
C. Lee
Lee
C.
C.
Please send in your address to me. I won't put it over to the
You just need
feed.
the subscriber number.
That's
Well, we got to get it to Brian.
Okay.
So yeah, just send me your address. We'll get you squared away. You'll have some baits in the mail.
Yes.
Man.
Very nice.
Congratulations, Lee C.
Congratulations, Lee C.
And hey, Brian, thanks so much for taking the time to talk to us, man.
Thank you, man.
Amazing story, amazing win. And I know us and the rest of the world's going to be watching the rest of the season. Want to wish you the best of luck. And,
Yes.
And thanks for coming on.
Yeah.
Oh, man, thanks for having me. I enjoyed the heck out of it. Hopefully we can go win us another one and get on here again. And
That's right.
And all viewers, please don't use all my secrets against me. My buddy.
Thanks a lot, man.
Have
All
a
right,
good
buddy.
one.
Thank you.
Yes.
Bryan New. First of many.
Man, that was awesome.
Right out of the gate, getting the W.
Great. Great
I
way to
mean,
start the season.
I remember thinking I was going to win right out of the gate. And that crap didn't happen.
No.
I mean, you got to sweat. Most
Dude.
everybody's
Yeah.
got to sweat and work and grind,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
And-
It's hard to win. It's hard to
Yeah.
win. That's the bottom
he
line.
did. He just did it as a co.
That's
He put
true.
his time
Yeah.
in.
He did put a lot of time in, didn't he?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
that was great. Great co-angler commentary,
Yeah.
too.
For
Which,
sure.
Hey, guys, listen, I know it was really popular. Our co-angler show was
Yeah.
super popular. So much so that I just want to let you guys know that we're going to be creating some co-angler training content that we're putting together right now. Over the next couple of months.
Nice.
And that's going to be available over on Bass U TV. We're going to feature, a co-angler winner back there, Mike Iaconelli. We're going to have professional fish head who has won 2 boats headed once again to the what's the BFL?
All-American.
The All-American again. And we've got some other surprises there from some really high-level people that have started out as co's and made it into the pros. So that's coming at bassu.tv. So look for all that stuff.
I would hire Bryan New for that too.
Brian New, man.
Yeah.
Speak of the devil, we really ought to. We learned some really great tidbits from him. I know there's a lot more there.
Oh, there's a lot more. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's like thrifty though. You can see he's holding it a little
Yeah.
bit.
A little bit of Brian.
You can hear that in him too.
You can hear it.
He's like, oh man, I didn't want to talk about the 360.
That's
Come
just
on,
what he
man.
was putting out there. There was a whole lot more he was keeping tight.
Yeah, that's a powerful little weapon. But that's all coming. That's all coming real soon. A lot more stuff's coming at bassu.tv. Are we going to take a break, Brian? Or are we going to keep going? What are we doing right now?
We ran grossly over time, which,
Yeah.
as expected. We could
Yeah.
take a break, or we could roll into the next. You want to take a break? What do you do?
I'm good.
Do you have
Whatever.
anything to say,
Don't matter to
Michael?
me.
We good? Well, let's keep going. Let's keep going, guys. That was a great interview. We just came off of really excited. You were there, Mike, and I'm glad you're still here. That's why we're not taking a break, because we get to keep you.
I was just getting ready to get up.
We
I was just getting ready to go up and walk across the street and go to bed.
Yeah, he's like, take a break, take a
Keeping me
break.
here.
Well, before you go, I want tell us you were at the Bass University down at Gadsden, Alabama.
Yeah.
On social, it looked amazing. I wasn't there.
Yeah.
Tell us about it.
It's a good event. It was a good event. I was there for Sunday. Great crowds. I think we were at about 130 students. And, the one thing I preach about our classes, and it's, until you teach at one of our classes, and then when you teach at a regular sport show, and Greg, we all have, the difference is unbelievable. And the best way I can describe it, when you're at a regular boat show or a sport show and you get up there to do your presentation, you're passionate and you're teaching, but you look out there and there's a small percentage that's truly interested, another percentage that half are in, half out, another percentage that
they're waiting for you to catch a fish out of the hog trough.
Some guys are hunting. Some guys are there to get pickles in a jar. Some guys are just But at those classes, dude, the energy is unbelievable, and it was that way this weekend. and I'd get up there to do my presentation. You could feel the energy. You know, they were writing notes. You know, you can see the intensity on their face.
Yep.
That's special. That's something you don't see a lot. You know, our classes, you see it. And that was really cool. You know, it was nice to get back to that, you know.
Yeah.
It was nice to be back in that environment. But, you know, the other thing, too, is, you know, I sneak a lot, and I hide in the back corner when I'm not presenting.
Listening in.
And listen in. And I got to listen to Jordan Lee and John Cruz, who are, you know, two of the hottest anglers around right now. And I learned some stuff myself, you know, and it's all stuff that our subscribers are going to be able to watch and view these same seminars. So it's good stuff, man.
Right.
Really good stuff.
Well, and that's a good point. And we're filming all of our seminars, so if you can't make it, you don't live anywhere nearby.
Yeah.
It's all available over at bassu.tv, and we release these seminars in line with what's happening in the world of fishing.
Yeah.
So we film winter seminars, summer seminars, different tactics that apply to different seasons.
Yeah.
And we'll release them just prior to the season, so you guys can all view that. And we have over 600 seminars available on Bass U right now.
It's crazy.
And we're creating more and new content because the sport's ever evolving.
Yeah.
It's constantly
Yeah.
changing.
Yeah.
And I talked about it before you were here. We talked about the hottest lures.
Yeah.
And the Tokyo rig was mentioned a few times in the top 12 down there in Florida.
Yeah. You know, you look at them ones that are at the beginning, the infancy of where they're going to be. I think that's where Tokyo rig's at. You know, reminds me a lot of Senko or Fluke when it first came out. Like everybody looked at it and was like, but then they started to see the power of it and how you can fish it a lot of different ways. And I think you're going to see that with the Tokyo rig. And the other seminars from Johnny and Jordan that I loved were two more hot ones. Were Ned rig from John Cruz, talking about the Ned, some unique stuff with the Ned rig, and how when you look back at that the last couple of years, it's incredible. You know, whether you want to call it the old jig worm or not, it's incredible. And then Jordan talked a lot about finesse swim baits, which is a really cool subset. Yeah, it's a really cool subset of swim baits because
he's like Greg's like, oh man,
yeah, I know, but
I'm the same way.
I'm the same way too because I had a lot of good finishes this year on it too. But you know, you mentioned swim baits, and everybody's mind thinks a 3/8 Kitech or a 4 whatever, you know, a big glide or whatever. But you know, these guys are throwing. Jordan's throwing little 2/8s. 3 inchers, a lot on spinning rods, and it's amazing, you know, the success he's had, and not just in clear water. That's the other thing that came out in the seminar that I was like, oh shit, maybe I'm missing the boat a little bit.
That's what Bryan Thrift does.
Not throwing it in dirty water, you know. Yeah, so it was good stuff, man. I learned a lot.
How about you, Riz? I mean, you've been to 2 now, right?
3.
Three
Yeah,
already.
last year. Yeah.
Okay.
Year, yeah.
All right. Well, 2 this year. You've been traveling around. A lot of you guys might see the Bass University trailer going around the country.
Doing 95.
Yeah.
No. No way.
Riz is the guy drinking and speeding behind the wheel.
Pulled over at a rest stop on a late night Tinder date with the trailer bouncing up and down.
Part of that might be true, but no, it's really awesome being able to interact with these guys firsthand, be a part of everything, listen in. I am pretty busy when we're down there. We got a lot going on, but I do get to take in a lot of the seminars. And the first thing that really stood out to me was actually in Indiana, and it was David Dudley's second seminar of the day. And in that seminar, he was talking about his flipping and pitching approaches, and he said that you won't see a jig on his boat.
A flipping jig.
A flipping jig. He when he's flipping and pitching cover, it's always soft plastic.
Wow.
And the reason that he said that is because he said, I'm going to get the same bite as you on a jig, or the same bite you're getting on a jig, I'm going to get on my soft plastic, and I'm going to get more bites on my soft plastic than you are on a jig. And the reason that really stood out to me is because I have so much more confidence in a soft plastic to get bites than I do a jig. And I always have kind of had in the back of my mind that, well, maybe I'm not getting some of those bigger bites on the soft plastic that I could be on a jig. But to hear David Dudley say that he gets those same bites and he gets more on the soft plastic, and that guy's won the most money in FLW history. Yeah. I know that I'm not the only one that's feeling that way. There's got to be other guys that feel more confident with a soft plastic bait flipping and pitching than a jig. So to hear him say that really stands out. And, you know, maybe next year I'm not going to feel like when I'm looking for that big bite, I need to go tie a jig on and have a little bit less confidence what I'm doing. I'll keep flipping that soft plastic. Right. And maybe I'll get that extra bite and it'll come.
I know that creature bait you like to throw.
Yeah, look. Yeah. So next topic. Anyway.
He's not letting that out.
And then the other one that really stood out was Jordan Lee in dirty water fishing. So for me, one of the things that when I get to the lake, if the water is dirty, it really throws a wrench in my mind mentally, and I think it does for a lot of people. They see that dirty water and they think, oh man, these fish aren't going to bite. You know, it's beat, it's over, it's going to be super tough. But that's not the case. It just, the dirty water makes the fish behave differently.
Positions them differently.
And if you can execute and fish your baits the way that they need to be fished and adjust with that, you can still get those bites and have great days. And it's actually incredible that he did that seminar, because one of the days that I got out to fish while I was in Alabama
on the Riz tour
for the Ike Live tour is we fished some really muddy water like that. Back home, if like we show up at a winter league and the water's that muddy, I'm like, all right, here we go. Here's another 2-bite winter league. But we caught them, and it moved the fish into some different areas that I wouldn't normally be thinking about. And Jordan really expanded on how he adjusts in those muddy water conditions to still get bites. And in fact, sometimes may go to the muddier water, because if there's fish there, most guys aren't going to be fishing for them. Yeah. And those bigger,
easier to catch.
Those bigger fish, they move to where you know they're going to be.
Yeah, that's a good point. Greg, I want to ask you, how many times in your fishing career, how many times did you go to the muddy water instead of avoiding it?
Yeah, it seems like in the springtime, that's a lot of my tournament action is gearing towards that kind of water for warmer water. So that's a big thing, I think, in the springtime.
Toward the mud.
Yes.
Because it heats up quicker.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes, that's a big part of it. But there has been tournament situations that I can remember, especially locally, where I went towards that water just to get on a cover a little bit better.
Yeah.
For sure.
Position the fish tighter to the pieces.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, big time. And one thing I've learned with muddy water, and it holds true everywhere as I've been, if you have a muddy water situation and it's like 3 days into the muddy water, it seems like the fish just kind of relate to it like it's normal. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Not when it first happens right away.
Right. Not the drastic new chocolate milk,
Yeah.
but if it's settled in a little, the fish bite.
Yeah,
they settle in and bite.
time.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's a good point.
Well, it was great. They're great seminars, and I got some feedback on our David Dudley seminar. David's so matter of fact. He speaks and teaches in a different way than all of our other speakers. But I remember.
Did he wear underwear?
A couple years.
He did have underwear on.
He did.
A couple years ago, he threw all his spinner baits out of the boat because the chatterbait was here, and now he's throwing all his jigs out of the boat. But one of the other things, this is interesting, Mike. He doesn't throw a crankbait like a classic crankbait rod, and he goes to a heavy, medium heavy action rod to crank with. And he was saying guys are making a mistake. Guys are making to use a softer parabolic style rod. You can't feel the bites, and you're missing fish that you don't even know you're missing. And he flies in the face of some conventional thinking. A lot of times
he's different, man. He's good.
He's had success.
Yeah,
you can't argue that.
Yeah,
can't argue with it. But
but to throw all your jigs out, I can't do that.
I can't either.
Especially not my little compact mini. I'm not throwing my mini flips out. No way, man.
Impossible.
No way.
No, I agree with that.
Especially in post-spawn situations, man. I don't think a jig can be touched. Period. I don't think plastics get it done.
Yeah, I agree with you, man.
But
I couldn't get away from a jig.
Riz
I don't know.
Riz is like, I'm going with Dudley.
I'm not going with
are
Dudley.
out, man.
I'm going with my own personal findings. I don't care. I mean, anybody in the room, you know, if we're running down a bank on certain fisheries around here.
Oh, around here?
Yeah, I'm talking about
around here.
Around here, I fish a lot around here. I fish the smaller bodies of water, whatever, and
whatever.
The soft plastic it gets it done. You know.
You're talking about around here where it's really shallow, really soft bottom, and highly pressured.
Huh?
Well, so in his defense, man, the one thing about fishing, it has no rules. That's the thing about it.
That is true.
I agree.
And
with
if what you're doing, you're confident in, you will them into biting it.
Throw
like
them
will
what
that
you're talking about.
Yeah.
Throw them jigs out, Rich.
No, I'm not throwing the jigs out. There's times where
Put your money
there's
where
times
your
where
mouth is.
I'm still definitely going to use a jig, but just hearing Dudley say that, it's going to erase that little bit of doubt, because there's times where, you know, you got 5 in the box and you're like, well, they've been biting the soft plastic all day, but let me go change to a jig because I might get a bigger bite. What? You idiot. You've been getting bites all day, you know? Like, so, you know.
Well, I've found times when that jig, you can tell, like, they'll bite it better, and they're just having an affinity for it. And I just don't know what that is. So I don't, man, and I can't say when to throw which one over the other, but, you know, I hear what he's saying, but, boy, you're not getting rid of mine. But you want to go.
I'm not getting rid of my jigs either. Let's be clear.
Let's tackle our trivia question.
You want to go main trivia question for the WeGo unit?
Yeah, I'll grab that WeGo unit
All right,
right
let's
now.
do that, and then we'll call tonight.
WeGo unit.
All right.
Riz, give a shout out to some of the Bass U subscribers
Yeah.
who are watching tonight.
Yeah, let's do that. New York Chris, Rusty Sandals, Theoretically Dan, Brian's eyebrow sweat, Brian's ear sweat, Brian's porch creeper, Brian's Rusty Huffy,
Brian's van,
Brian's white panel van.
Oh my God!
Are you serious?
Stephen, yeah, I'm serious. Stephen Walden, Randy, Mike O, the Plogger, Adam, the back of Brian's eyelids.
Oh my God!
Lee C, Scott, B2, Brian's personality disorder. Wawa Hoagie Lady, Brian's nephew, David P, Scott.
Yo, Brian, are you a little scared of the fan base that's going to show up at the Classic this year?
No, I'm excited for it.
You're excited for it?
Hell yeah.
I think we're going to see signs, costumes, possibly.
It's
Yep.
good times.
Oh,
Hey, we got a
man.
few more. We got Randy. We got Ryan. We got Bruce Callis.
Lonnie.
Lonnie, Ronnie, AR, also Ronnie. The Bow Killer. And many more. So, guys, everybody who's been on the message board tonight, we really appreciate you being here with us. If you haven't gone over to bassu.tv and signed up yet, head over there now. It's totally worth it. Take 30 minutes a day. Watch some Bassu TV when you get done your dinner.
That's
it
right.
will help you catch more fish in the 2020 season.
Yeah.
I guarantee it.
By the
Guarantee it.
way, all you subscribers, if you haven't checked this out yet, go over to the Pro Member Offers. Join up to the Rapala VIP program. It's 40% off all kinds of stuff. It's ridiculous. And we also have an amazing Flambeau discount going on right now. Go over to Pro Members. All that stuff's there for you. We got new stuff coming all the time.
I want to give a shout out real quick. So one of your subscribers, I'm not sure if he's on there tonight, but Nicholas Wink, he also fished that same tournament as a co. He came in 10th.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, dude's like a sponge, man. He
Wow.
just sucks all this stuff up.
Shout out to Nick Wink.
Yeah.
Well done.
Yep.
Well done.
Brian's Nicholas Wink.
Probably
So
right.
what was the comment you were just laughing at?
Another message came in from Brian's ball pad.
Ball pad?
Ball pad. I don't know, man.
I don't either.
All right, Brian's ball pad. Let's have that trivia question.
Without further ado, for a WeGo 44.
WeGo.
Wild Bill just said he spent. Oh, Wild Bill's on the message board too. What's up, Billy?
Hey, Billy.
He said he spent $560 on Rapala products with his VIP program.
Wow.
It's a lot of Rapala.
Dude, that's $1,000 in a Rapala.
They're all DT6 demons.
All That'd be a good
$500.
investment.
So I
Be a
could
good
find
investment.
Yep. Wiggle warts. You can get them there too.
How many individual anglers have represented the state of New Jersey in the Bassmaster Classic? How many individual anglers have represented the state of New Jersey in the Bassmaster Classic?
All right, so clarify. We're not talking about this year's qualifier.
That's right.
Including Greg.
Mr. DiPalma from the state of New Jersey is about to.
About to, but he doesn't count yet.
Not quite yet.
Okay. All right.
But he's about to.
He's about to. Right.
So how many have already represented?
Previous.
We all got this wrong inside the room, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah. So good luck.
Good luck.
I guess we need something to talk about.
Yeah. Well, we're gonna talk about a WeGo charging system. It's about a $150 item. It will jumpstart your outboard in a pinch. What a deal!
We have a winner.
What?
Come on.
No.
Yeah. Yep.
David P. Congratulations, David P. You are the winner with the number 6.
Wow, David P.
Wow.
All right, did he list them? Or
Yeah,
did he
he's
just
got to
put
list
6?
them to get the WeGo.
No, he doesn't.
That wasn't the.
No, he doesn't have to list it. But can we list them? So
Yeah,
people know?
list them out. Go ahead, Bri.
All right, I don't know.
Mike Iaconelli.
Yeah,
Pete Glusick.
All right.
Bob Soley,
Bob Soley.
Ted Soley,
Bob's brother Ted.
yep, the brother
That's
Soley.
4. That's 4.
2 Solis.
Adrian Avina is 5.
And here's the sleeper. Kotaro Kiriyama.
Whoa. Coda.
Mm-hmm.
He's not from Jersey. He's from Japan.
He lived in New Jersey when he qualified.
Yeah.
Take it up with Ken.
So
Dick,
that would
folks.
be 6 qualifiers
And Mr.
from the
DiPalma
state of New Jersey.
is about to be number 7.
Yes, he is.
Lucky 7.
He's gonna win that
Lucky 7 coming up. Lucky 7.
He's gonna win that hitter.
I like
That'd
it.
be
I'm rooting for 2 guys. I'm rooting for Greg
John Cruz.
and John Cruz right here.
Yeah.
These are my men right
Funny
here.
story
Oh, yeah,
on funny story on John Cruz. So at the end of the Sunday, when we were wrapping everything up, we're taking down, and Johnny's leaving and he's saying goodbye to everybody, and my head's in breakdown mode, and I'm like, oh hey man, yeah, I'll see you again soon, right? You'll be at the Classic, and he's like, yeah, I'm gonna be fishing in it. I was like, so oh yeah, okay.
That's awesome, man.
That is awesome, and we're going to be there cheering on all our guys, all the Bass University instructors. No more important than GDP. We'll be cheering you on.
Yeah, hopefully, hopefully I don't see you guys there, because if I see you, it's bad.
No,
right?
we don't want to see you at all.
We don't want to see you till the after party.
Yep.
Yeah, that's
Party.
right.
Keep
Brian,
pushing.
Brian, just take care of Kelly for me, all right?
Done. You heard it here, folks.
Yeah, that goes without saying.
If Brian doesn't do it, his ghost or his van or his Huffy will. One of them will. There's so many of them.
She's taken care of. I got you.
Yeah.
All right,
sure
that's
you
a
do.
wrap.
I love it. All right.
Well, we want to thank everybody for being part of the show tonight. Thank everybody for all the questions.
Yeah.
We love all you guys that subscribe to Bass U TV. Give it a try. 30 days free. Bass U Live 30. Thank you, Bryan New. Congratulations again for winning the Bassmaster Open. Thanks, Ike, for hanging in there. We didn't realize we would have you on all night, but I tricked you by not taking a break.
I like it.
And
Trickery.
Yes.
welcome, GDP.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Thank you guys for inviting me to be a part of all this. It means a lot.
Well,
Awesome, dude.
hey, we're psyched to have you, man, and wish you the best of luck.
Thank you.
You have 2 tournaments before the Classic, don't you?
Yes, I do. I have St. John's and then off the Chickamauga.
Okay.
Yep.
Well,
2 good ones.
Yeah.
2 good ones.
Yeah.
Damn it, man.
He's 16th at St. John's last year.
Yeah, let's try to beat that this year.
Yeah.
All right.
Both
Yeah.
those events, you can honestly catch 10-pounder.
Oh, for sure.
It's really cool.
I
you
think
know?
I think the Chick. I've been to the Chick before that time of
Yeah.
the year, and
Giants.
Yeah, it's like it depends what you're doing, but you'll get bites, but they'll be just big ones.
Yeah, Giants.
Yeah, like it's stupid.
Yeah.
That'll
Yeah.
be cool.
Love that place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Get to see some big fish
Yeah,
caught.
and Santee Cooper's on the schedule this year.
And you
I
fall all
miss
them.
that place.
Yeah, we have a good schedule this year. We got
Yeah.
Champlain on there,
Mhm.
Thousand Islands again.
Wow.
Yeah,
What a
Good
deal.
one.
Yeah.
Play on, Wayne.
Well, we're going to be watching, and we wish you the best of
Thank
luck.
you.
Guys,
Absolutely.
we're going to be seeing a lot of you this week. If you watch the show, come over and tell us. Tell us what you want to see us talk about live, because we're going to be in Tulsa and we're going to be in South Carolina this weekend. Tickets are still available at thebassuniversity.com.
Tickets still available.
And
Yeah.
Minnesota. We're coming your way. We're just below Minneapolis up there. We've got a great host of speakers. We're going to be there in March after the Classic. So get tickets. We still have availability there as well. So want to Thank everybody. Riz, what do you got?
We got the Facebook like and share winner
Oh,
that
my
we're
goodness.
gonna toss out. We're gonna give one more thing away, and that's gonna go to Warren Stock. Warren Stock, I will be contacting you on social for your information. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
You are the winner of the Leading Lures prize pack. And inside this Leading Lures prize pack, we have some awesome soft plastic baits that some of are now on the floor.
Except those
we
two,
have
yeah.
we have some tungstens, we have drop shot weights, we have flipping and pitching weights, we have some cross style baits in there. Leading Lures is a local company, Jakey Haas. He's a young angler and a young hustler, and he filled up this Leading Lures box with a ton of tungsten and some great baits
Guys,
to use.
Seriously, go check out leadinglures.com. His tungsten prices are pretty amazing.
Yeah,
so.
Bryan Carpenter. One last thing, too. One last plug before we roll out.
Yes.
We have a really cool Ike live show coming up this Sunday.
This Sunday night.
Tell me about it. Let everybody know what's going on.
Big Bait Posse.
Big Bait Posse.
Big Bait Posse.
Back from the dead.
Dude, Pete, remember we had Paul Bailey
Mm-hmm.
Skype in, one of the best Skype guests we've had on Bass U Live, Skype in to talk to us about swim bait fishing, glide bait,
big baits. Big bait fishing.
He was amazing.
Yeah.
The detail he went into. Well, our boy Mike here fished with him how long ago?
Early 2000s.
So 15, 20 years ago.
Wow.
The infancy of big bait fishing.
Yes.
Wow.
It was so cool. And these guys, the Bailey brothers, Matt Newman, a few other guys, Justin Kerr, these guys were doing it before it was a thing. It's going to be so cool to have them on to talk about the history of big bait fishing. These are true pioneers of it. It's going to be a good show.
So Sunday night, 7 o'clock, Ike Live, Mike Iaconelli, Big Bait Posse. Those guys are going to Skype in.
Will Mike Long be Skyping you?
I don't think we're gonna have Long. We're gonna talk about Mike Long.
We might.
We're gonna talk about him behind his back, but I don't think he's gonna Skype in.
We're gonna talk about it in front of his back. Too.
In front of his back and behind his back.
Hey, well, I'll be watching from Tulsa, Oklahoma, and listening in, and I know a lot of other people will. I'm sorry, I'm sad I'm going to miss that show. That's going to be a great one.
It's going to be a good one, yeah. Yeah.
Well, enjoy, have fun. Thanks, everybody, for watching. I want to thank Humminbird, thank Rapala. I want to thank TH Marine and all the supporters, Cash and Fishing Rods, of course, and all the supporters of Bass University. Go check out their products. All those links are available on our site. And I want to thank you guys for subscribing. And we will be back very soon with a new Bass U Live. We'll look for the messages in your email and on Facebook. Thank you, everybody. And we'll see you next time on Bass U Live.
Good night.
See you guys.
Gerald Swindle, Bass U TV. I'm telling you right now, if you ain't watching it, you're like trying to put 3 pair of socks on 1 foot, man. You got to get part of it. You got to get on here and learn. If you got any doubt about flipping, pitching, we got it on Bass U TV. We got Bobby Lane. We got everybody you can imagine doing what they're the best at. You want to learn how to flip? Check out Hackney, huh? Don't get no slower than that. We got it all. BUTV offers A to Z bass fishing from beginner to the highest level. We have it on BUTV. Check it out online. Enjoy the laughs, but really enjoy the outdoors and fish. That's all we're asking. We want you to fish and we want you to watch BUTV.